Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for the treasure train, by the way. 35% off gifted subs of a 5. Huge. I don't think that stacks with the 35% from June, right? Correct? Double checking. I don't think offers stack, right? Because if so, that would be stupid. No? Okay. I was gonna say, if it did, I think that'd be, like, bad for everyone. Okay, perfect. Anyway, hey, thank you so fucking much. Overloads, thank you for gifting us up. Kat, thank you for 24 months. Ren, thank you for gifting 50. That's crazy.
Moo!
Cobalt, thank you for the tier 3 for 30 months. That's huge. Grog, thank you for the prime. Give me your primes. Toopy, thank you for the 23 months. Philbro, thank you for 9 months. Comrade, thanks for gifting Ego a sub. Cabe, thank you for the 10 gifted. Gexor, earlier 100 gifted subs. That's crazy. Thank you. Graphicos, thank you for the 10 gifted. Ansrel, thank you for 10 gifted. Comrade, thank you for 5. And me. Cicerok, thank you for the prime. Thank you for paying your tithes. Puckhead, thank you for the 6-month resub. Oh no, I'm scrolling. Derpy did thank you for 5. Ice, thank you for the tier 3 for 5 months. Hi, Garrick. Andrew, thank you for tier 3 for 27 months. Don't let the train stop. Hey, I won't say no. keep it going, man. It's you guys are nuts. Gasoff, thank you for the 25 months. Ren, thank you for the tier 3 for 31 months. I think that's everything. No, it's not. Oh my god. Calgon, thank you for 19 months. Silkerus, thank you for 9 months. I don't know if it'll scroll that far. MD, thank you for 13. Lynn, thank you for 31. I almost said 13 again. Gemthar. I never know if it's Gemthar or Gemthar, but I say Gemthar in my head. I've never asked you how you say it. Thank you for the prime. Elgron, thank you for 27 months. Lycos, thank you for 20 months of prime. Demu, thank you for 15 months of tier 3. Whiskey Danger with the 5 gifted. And Runecat, thank you for the tier 3 for 34. Runecat, I saw what you sent me. I'm not going to do it today, but I saw it. Stinky McFartnuts, thank you for the tier 3 for 36 months. You said, whenever I go to the poop deli, I use code GEEGA to save 10% on all purchases, and you can too. Again, that's code GEEGA for 10% off all poop products. That's true. You can do that at Cheeky Soap, and you can wash your ass with the soap. That's right. 10% off code GEEGA. Use cheeky.com. You can save money washing your ass. Hold on, I have to send it. I have to send it to you. Sorry, I have to send it to you, but it made me laugh. Oh man, I You ever like see something happen that's just so like bad that you just can't help but laugh? I was just telling someone about something, like someone's really bad incompetence. It was like a moment where there was like a crazy thing. And I was like, I can't believe this is real. And I was informing someone about it. And they were like, what? So it just made me laugh. Oh, man. Like, you ever in the workplace or something, right? Or like whatever. And someone does a thing and you're like, there's no way this person thought this was a real way to do this. It's one of those. Liz, thank you for the 5 gifted. Thank you so much. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I have so much going on. I'm doing so much like off-stream work. I gotta tell you, this month and next month are so unbelievably packed. So unbelievably packed. So I'm just making sure I keep up on shit because so many things are like time sensitive and all that. There's so much. It's always like this for summer. There's always so much shit that comes through that you know, has to happen. But now there's more on top of it. It's just so much for this year. What'd you say, Garg? Your mom said you're her second favorite son, but you don't have any brothers. What should we put? Thank you for the 13 months. Liz, thank you for the 5. Did I say that already? Thank you, Liz. We're gonna be so full of content. Looking forward to seeing the results, assuming stream related. Yeah, I mean, some things you're gonna love, some things I don't think you will, but it's gonna, you know, you'll see. There's a lot of stuff. I'm trying to get plans together for everything, for stream stuff, some of it like con stuff. I'm trying to get plans together for like all my outfit things, trying to figure out the right timing, like when do I do this, when do I do that. Like it's just so hard to balance all of these different things. And there's some things that I could do, and it's not that, like, I feel like there's never a good time for some stuff. Like, you just have to schedule things in and just do it, you know what I mean? Like, you'll try to do an ideal time, and then there'll always be something that comes up close to it or whatever. So I'm like, I think I'll just schedule everything in and as things pop up, I just have to, like, if it's gonna be packed, it's gonna be packed, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So much to balance, but I'm just working on getting that balanced out as best I can. So there's just, so if I'm like answering DMs while I'm streaming, I usually don't do a lot of that, but that's why I'm just making sure that everything is moving ahead, like, in a timely fashion. Okay, I have to voice note it to someone later. Okay. Going to Offkai or AX? I have no Offkai plans. No offense to them. I did some stuff with them one year, and I felt that they were incredibly disorganized. This is not personal. This is just on the work side of it, the business side of it. I had a really bad time. So I'm giving it a year break, and if they do better this year and everyone gives me great... Now, people might say they feel great about it, but I'm looking for accounts on the back end, right? Like, how was your experience and everything? How was it working with them? I talked about it when it happened. This is not new news for you guys. I talked about it after last year. I think they're a young convention, so I don't, like, hate them personally, you know? It's something like that. But they're a newer convention, and there's so many growing pains. And I don't have it in me to just be like, oh, you're new and you have growing pains, so I'm going to forgive everything, and I'm going to put myself through all these extra hours of work and all this hardship and stuff that I don't need to just because. You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't be doing that. I'll wait until people have their things together. So if this year it seems like they have their stuff together, then next year I'll do it. But yeah, the year before I did stuff with them, and I mean, I think I told you guys last year I did a meet and greet with Joel that started really late, and then they did everything wrong with the setup, and we sat there in that room, meet and greet room, for like 4 fucking hours to get through everyone. And that was just one thing. And the tech, we had to like reset. We had one of those machines for signing, and we had a couple things. We had to reset it between every single signature. And they also had no tech staff to help us out. I had to have my own staff who weren't even people that were hired in by me for this specific thing. I had to pay them and get them their time. They wanted to do it for free. I was like, no, I had to get my own people to who I just knew were on site. I had to message them and say, can you be my tech staff for this 4-hour thing and come in and reset this fucking machine every time? And you know what I mean? Like, I had to like pull other people in and take their time that they should have been using to work on, you know, there were some people that were physically at the convention. They should have been using it for that. It was just, and that was just one thing. There were a lot of things that were just not done well. So, hopefully this year they saw that from last year, and this year it won't be like that, you know, but I feel the need to see it happen well fully through one year before. Like, I'm not gonna try it just to try it. I already did that once, you know what I mean? So yeah, so hopefully this year it's good. And then if people, like friends of mine, are like, oh yeah, no, it was a lot better this year, then the next year I'll do it. But yeah, I think last year was it their second ever year of the convention, or third or something? So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, as for AX, almost at AX, right now I don't have any plans VTuber just have to ping me to ask if I wanted to do something. But one of the asks from AX was something that I just didn't want to do. However, on my own, I've separately contacted them about doing something slightly different, and it might be fine. So AX is a maybe on if I'll do like a panel or something or not, or like a meet and greet. I think I'll have a meet and greet. It's the panel side that I wasn't sure. I don't know how much I could say, but basically there was like some exorbitant fee that would have needed to be paid for something related to a panel that I would have had to pay for. Like if I wanted to do a panel, I would have had to pay for it. And I was like, why would I pay to do a panel? Don't people pay guests or they show up for free and they just get to use the room for free? I've never been asked by a convention to pay for anything or anything like that. I don't know. And it was a lot. And I was like, I don't know. I think it might have been related. It might be because it was like the main events room and it was related to like maybe their streaming equipment or something. Like I don't think it was not legit. I think there was a reason or something. I don't know exactly what it was, but I think for like a lot of the bigger rooms with a lot of tech stuff in it, there is something related. But I've never personally been asked to pay for it, so I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, you know. So I said no, but I might be able to get like a different thing going on. You've gotten paid for doing panels before? I have too, yeah. So I was like, maybe not. But if this other thing pans out, then I might actually have a panel without me like paying for anything. You said Mouse talked about that and insurance costs for some reason. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the money was for, but it was like crazy. It was a high amount. And I can't afford to do that. Like just to run a panel. I don't know. It just made no sense for me. Oh, I should be on the screen. Hold on, guys, redeem. Anyway. So back in the day, we as convention organizers had to cover all the costs for guests to come. Yeah, I think that's still typical. I don't know. I think some of the big ones do things a little differently now. I don't know. It was that was why like my default for AX is a no on if I'm doing a panel or not. But I don't know. VTubers just were just like, hey, if you want to do a panel, here's what you'll have to do. And I was like, why? So I said no. But there might be another thing that pans out separately. So if that does, I'll keep you guys updated. I will. So we'll see. We'll see. There we go. So unless the guest came as the behest of a sponsor, because then the sponsoring company paid. Yeah, I have rarely seen that, though. Usually it's just their own thing, so... I don't know. So TLDR, no off-kai for me. I want to see them, like, potentially do well this year before I go back, because last year was not good. I just don't want to put my community through it again. Like, if things turn out to be not so great, like, it's better but not that great... I don't want that again, because last year for my meet and greet, for example, it took 4 hours because it was not planned properly. And then I had to have my own staff sitting there. There were people in the line for my meet and greet that went out to get food to bring back so that they could feed people on the line because they were completely missing dinner and everything was going to be closed by the time they were done. Like that, it was really awful for those people sitting in line. So if something goes wrong, I don't want it to be something like, if it was just me that would have to sit through something and I was the only one affected, I would just go for it. I would just try it. But when it like means my own community sitting in a hallway doing nothing for hours just to talk to me for a short bit, like I can't do that to them. You know, I have to make sure that things are good first. And then if they're good, then I'll go back next year. That being said, I wasn't like, you guys suck forever, I hate you, I'm never coming back. I was just like, hey, I need to see like this go well, and then I'll come back, you know? So, yeah. So hopefully it's good. I don't think you should like not go. Just, that was what I dealt with the year prior, so.
Or is the next convention walk around going to be a giant sock on a robot faction redeems chat?
Maybe. Potentially. Really nice those people to go on a food run. Yeah, I was actually very proud because my community in particular was going out and grabbing food and giving it to everyone else who was on other lines and stuff as well. Like they were making sure everyone else was fed. And I was like, yeah, that's us. That's us. It was very nice. It was very nice to see. So, at least that felt good, but I felt so bad for everyone who had to sit there and do all that. I was just like, man. And I told people, like, if you want to leave and, like, I do an online thing, we can. But it's not the same. So I'm glad for those that stuck through it. But yes, that's why I'm not doing anything at that convention for now. I'll see how it goes. Maybe next year. I'm really genuinely, like, optimistic and hoping it will be good this year. Because people gave a lot of feedback. So if it is, great. And then, I'm hoping. Because there aren't a lot of cons that are, like, just about VTubing. That's rare. So I hope it goes well. But yeah, I'm rooting for them. And then, yeah, AX, we'll see. I think, let me double check. I think I am doing a meet and greet, but I'm going to do it through a booth. I don't think I'm going to do it like at their official meet and greets area. I think I'm just going to do it through a booth. Because that always tends to work out better for me. So I'm pretty sure I'm doing that. And then, I'm trying to see it. I think it's going to be short notice. I was trying to see if I could do like a merch thing there, but I think it's too quick. It was like just confirmed today that I might be able to do this. So I was like, ew, it's not enough time to like get stuff physically done and shipped there. Probably, maybe. We're checking. But yeah, I think we'll do a meet and greet at a booth at AX, and then we're working on a potential panel. So I was thinking no because of the other thing, but now maybe yes, maybe, question mark. I think that's it. Yeah. I think that's it for confirmed convention stuff that I can say, like, definitely happening or 100% being worked on. For sure. You want to go to AX if the crowds look intimidating? It's very, like, sardine can. It's very packed. Every time I've done an AX walk around, it's a fuck ton of people. The convention center is not that well laid out in a way where you can avoid crowds. It just kind of has a big central point that you have to walk through no matter what. So that area, you're always going to be stuck walking through. That will always be the case because the place just converges in one spot. Once you're out of that convergent area, it's not as bad. It's still a lot of people, but if you're out of peak times and you're just like in the normal halls, it's not as crazy. It's still really packed though. It's still really packed. If you saw when we did the walk around for DreamCon how packed that was, it's more packed than that. Always. So I feel like they overfill it every year. But yeah, AX, if you're a little agoraphobic, like a little bit, I wouldn't do it. There are a lot of really, really good, like, small or medium cons. There are a lot of really good ones that you could go to. You don't have to go to the big one. Okay? You don't have to go to the big one. Everyone thinks they have to go to the big one because everyone goes. They go, oh, that must mean that it's better because everyone goes. But no, a lot of the time we do walk-arounds at these medium cons, and we have a great time. Also, I will say, a lot of the slightly smaller cons, where they're big enough to have guests, but small enough that they aren't the top 5, they usually have they're more in tune with the community that specifically goes to that con, and they try to do cooler things with us. They don't just throw us a panel room and go do what you want. If I'm like, hey, I want to do this cool event, I want to do this thing or that thing, like, the staff try to help us because they have more capacity to do so. It's not the fault of the bigger cons that they don't do this stuff, it's just that they literally can't, they're too busy. But the ones that are a little bit smaller, like medium large, and the small ones, they're all way more willing to set out staff to do like really cool events because they physically can. So I like a lot of those. So I will be trying to do more of those. I actually want to do there's like an event in Brazil that I'm going to do. And it's a relatively small event, but I'm going to do it because it's a small thing and there aren't really a lot of events down there that focus on bringing like English speaking VTubers to a thing or whatever. Like I'm just going to do this kind of stuff. So yeah, I want to focus on some like medium small events where I can, because it's just nice, man. It's just nice. You said TwitchCon, BlizzCon are always nice because they tend to have a lot of space to move around, but every picture you've seen of AX looks like the TSA line at DIA. Yeah. Yeah, it's really bad. It genuinely feels like an airport. It's not. If you're okay with that, then you're gonna be fine, but like people that are like not chill with crowds should not go. They just should not. So do you want to find a good con in the your neck of the woods? TwitchCon EU didn't seem like your kind of thing because it'd be based on what communities and streamers you could find, which doesn't seem like a winning strategy for your first con decade. I think TwitchCon, from what I've seen, kind of looks like it sucks for viewers, but it looks like it's great for streamers. Because like I see all these people walking around streaming, and then they have like the partner lounges and whatever, and then I see like I get brought around to parties on like an iPad. And so many streamers, I see them hanging out, and then they see the iPad and they're like, oh, hey, let me carry you around, woo! And everyone's just hanging out, and there's so much like networking and people just having FaceTime with people that they don't get to meet in person normally. So I'm like, okay, as like an industry event, it's great. But as a viewer, it doesn't really look like there's stuff to do from what I've seen.
Here's
so
some
I don't know.
For you and your sidekick, Lil G the sock puppet. Sorry for interrupting. Carry on, Kek.
Don't say sorry for interrupting. Thank you so much for the bits. I appreciate the support, Greek. I really do. I really do. That's huge. Thank you for the sock puppet. Yeah. I'll give the bits the sock puppet. For sure. For sure. For sure. You said that was your thought. It looks like a great networking con, but as a fan, you're not going to hang out with the streamers. Yeah, a lot of the streamers like want to connect with their communities, but the only way to do so, it looks like them just walking around the con and streaming, and then like running into stream snipers is the only way. Or people that aren't stream sniping, they just see them on the way and they're like, oh hey. And then I know like I was offered to do like a meet and greet, so I've done a meet and greet there before. Which is cool. But that's it. I honestly think what they should do, I mean, I'm sure they make money by having attendees be able to come in and do these panels and do these in-person panels, but I think what they should do is they should have it be a 2-day con. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Saturday and Sunday, viewers can come in and watch panels and events that are done live. For example, they do, like if a streamer has a game show that they do on stream live often, instead they do a live show version and stream it so that there's an audience, right? They should do stuff like that Saturday, Sunday. They should take the other days and close it off to streamers only. Streamers only, and then focus on events. So doing these streams where you need a big room for it. Imagine doing like a Mr. Beast video style thing with like 100 streamers in a room, all playing a game together, because you have a big panel room that you clear the chairs out of and you film it, and you just have all these streamers physically doing a thing. You'd be able to do that shit. Okay? You'd be able to do that shit there. But because they're trying to make events for viewers to sit around and watch, they don't really do much industry-only shit. And stuff like that does seem to happen, but it looks like they rent out areas outside of the convention mostly to do it, and they kind of like fund it on their own. I think instead, they should probably just like do it in the convention center on their own for industry-only days. I don't know. I think that should be the way. Yeah, exactly, Lesh, right? Because it looks like they do have to choose between like, I'm going to network with streamers and hang out with people versus now I'm going to do something for my community. And the thing is, people will want to like hang out with their friends that they never get to see there because they never get to do shit for themselves like that. And then suddenly someone's like, oh, you should do this panel and connect with your community. And they're like, yeah, I want to do it. And then while they're doing the panel, they get this FOMO because they find out that while they're doing their panel, all these people were doing this crazy event thing together, these streamers that they didn't get to do, and no one's schedules match up. And that's the kind of story I keep hearing. So I'm like, I think it'd be better if they had like 1 or 2 industry only days or something. And that way, like, the time for focusing on your community and your viewers is much more set out for it. And the time for not focusing on that at all and just focusing on the other streamers and events you're doing with them is also separated, right? And then people don't have to pick and choose as much. But I don't know. They probably make more money just selling tickets for people to come through each day anyway, so it's whatever. It's whatever. Whatever, man. I always hope that more gaming companies would get involved, like to do more little events and tournaments. I watched they streamed last year. They did like all the fighting game stuff, and I watched that like stream last year. They do some rival stuff. I usually watch those too because it's cool to see these events happen and they have live audiences and everything. They usually do, like, I gotta say, the rivals team does good broadcasts. Like, their broadcast engineering, I like. They're good with camera switching. They're good with pacing, all that. They're good with just making the broadcast good. All right. I don't always love how they set up the actual tournament design sometimes, but I love the way they do the broadcast. So I find that whenever they do stuff like that live, it's like really cool to watch. I think they should just focus more on that kind of stuff. I don't know. On Sunday, they should host a cage match where all the affiliates compete in a bracket to be the last affiliate standing, and they get partner if they win. It gives affiliates hope while culling the weak. I always wanted... You know what I always thought would be cool? Would be if they set up smaller streamers with larger streamers to sit there and just literally do a consultation. Straight up. And they do it within the same community. So they'll be like, if you tend to stream this category and you find someone else who tends to stream similar stuff, boom, here you go. But I think no one wants to do that. Because the smaller streamers tend to get nervous and they feel like they're like overbearing. a lot of them feel really bad, so they end up getting nervous and they just ask basic ass questions instead of really getting deep into it because they're like, I don't want to self-promote too much, even if it's literally a mentorship. And then yeah, a lot of bigger streamers don't want to mentor because they feel like they're lucky and they don't know what to say. Hold on, I gotta answer his DM. There we go. Okay. Oh my god, wait. I have like 3 DM. Why do I have to answer everything right now? Oh, hold on. I'm just gonna one-word answer stuff. Yes and no. Yes and no. There we go. Sorry. I have to like confirm if I could do like, can I do the sponsorship? Can I do that? Blah, blah, blah. They need to know right now. But I love typing yes or no. Yes, no, or ping me again. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Yeah, maybe, and maybe, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I like doing events. I just feel so limited as a VTuber to do the stuff I want to do. There's stuff that I want to set up, but without physically being there, it's really hard to make sure it goes right. So if I'm sitting there and coordinating, but I'm doing everything over Discord from afar, it's just really difficult. And I don't know of many people that can sit there and be a good like on-site coordinator for events. I know so few people who can do that. Everyone gets stressed and freaks out and fucks shit up because they're nervous and they can't do stuff in real time. So I just like, I don't know. So I'd want to be there to get things done right, but I also am not trying to be there, you know? So it limits me a lot in what I can do for event, like in-person event stuff. I don't know, man. Yeah, we get debuffed. But I still have my ideas, and I've been pitching stuff to people, so we'll see. I've just been pitching stuff to friends, to VTuber friends and non-VTuber friends, instead of trying to go through every event, trying to go through every company, you know, things like that. I just need to do things with people. Not sure how much you know Cutie, but she's incredible at event coordination. I don't think Cutie wants people coming to her that she doesn't know super well and being like, yo, want to run my thing? She's busy enough. Rehearsing beforehand? Not possible when everyone just gets to a convention and there's only one day and time that everyone's going to be in the same area together, you know? It's just not possible when it's an in-person event. Need 10 more Oscars. Oscar's great, but he's not an event organizer. He's just like a body, a fleshy body to walk around holding an iPad, and he's great because he's really personable. But I wouldn't be like, hey, do you want to be the day of coordinator for my event? I don't know that he does that stuff at all. Maybe he magically does, but that's not like, yeah, he just works here, right? He just works for like Senpai Squad, man. And that's the thing, I can get bodies, I can get people that are great to do things, but coordination is the part that's tough. It's tough. Coordinating events for VTubers sounds like a business opportunity. No, you will make no money. Don't think about it. I say this to everyone. They're like, I keep getting messages from people being like, I really want to get into management. Should I do this? Should I do that? And I'm like, hey, you won't make money. Don't do it. Oh, Ryuko. Oh, that's so nice. I'll die for him. Honestly, yeah, same. I love Oscar. I fucking love Oscar, man. But yeah, you won't make money. It's no one's fault. It's just the same as like the esports thing. It's like saying I want to manage an esports team. Okay, when you're like, oh, I want to try managing a VTuber or VTuber group. No, you don't. No, you don't. I promise you, you will either lose money, make nothing, or make peanuts that you can't live off of. So yeah, don't think of it like that. Don't think of it like that as a business opportunity ever. Even the event stuff, there's so many companies that do events that spin up for things like this for creators, and then they go under. And all of the really good creators tend to just do their own stuff as a sole proprietor now, instead of having their companies to do these things, because you just can't sustain it. Even if you do make great money with a couple events, you can't guarantee that it'll always work out and keep people salaried. And then people are like, hey, I need to make money to live, so I can't just work here and hope money comes through. You know what I mean? It just ends up not working out. Yeah, there's off-brand that organize events and stuff, but they went under. Exactly. An off-brand was made by like Ludwig, and it was huge. It was the one to go to, and they went under. You know, so I can guarantee, you know, a lot of VTubers that have a lot of staff that do things, whatever. I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of those people just don't get paid, or they don't get paid enough, or they're getting propped up by something that won't last forever. You know, like it's not really. There are also a lot of people that do it for free for them, and then I always think it's an issue whenever you have staff members that do things for you for free. I think that's a bad thing. It's nice to get help from people, but when you treat them like an employee, they're expected to do an employee's amount of stuff, but they're not employed by you. It's a bad situation. Never goes well. So yeah, not very good. It's different from like a mod stepping up and helping a little more, but when they want to go like full managing your brand, I don't know. Those dynamics always end badly. Yeah, and it's no one's fault really. It's just like the scenario is set up in a way that it can't end well when it's like that, you know? So I don't know. That's why there are so few companies that have ever done well. Even esports companies, there's so few of them that are still like huge. A lot of them had their renaissance. They had their time, their year that they were huge, and then after that, it just kind of petered out. And a lot of the brands still technically exist, but they're not really doing much. They're just kind of like a Twitter account. You know, that's how it usually goes. That's how it usually goes. I mean, Toast is very transparent with his esports stuff too. Yeah, and if someone like with the size of community that Toast has can't make an esports team that will make a lot of money, then you know it's just not doable. I mean, you see how many of them go under. But yeah, same thing with all content creation groups and everything. They all just kind of do shit themselves. And the ones, I gotta say, a lot of stuff looks really professional on the outside, so you think it's like this huge organization doing all this shit, but it's usually just like some streamers doing it, and they hire like a designer to occasionally help them with posting stuff. And they have like one manager, one producer. And that is like the most you should have. That's the most you could pay for. And that's what like content groups that are like big, you know. I don't know. Mike has been stressing the past couple weeks about trying to value the work people do for his game show on YouTube. Get the respect that shit adds up. It really does. It really does. Is part of the issue that people just have less free time and free money to spend compared to 3 to 4 years ago, or something more fundamental? No, it's fundamental. It's how the business works and how much money does not pass through. People think a lot more money passes through than it does. It does not. It does not. A lot of people that look like they have big followings and look super famous or whatever don't make that much money. They make enough to live slightly better than like perfect middle class. That's it. You know? So that a person who is living a very normal average life does not have the money to fund 2 other people working for them full time. That doesn't exist. You know, you have to be a patrician. You have to be like making a lot for that to work. And even then, you know, when you're like, oh, I want to make a content group, or I want to make an esports team, and I want to bring up these people that don't have existing huge brands, I don't want to put them in that and have them grow. You're essentially just doing charity. You have to be willing to burn and lose all that money, which is what a lot of people do with esports stuff. You know, like, yeah, Toast talks about his, and Moist Esports, right? Charlie talks about his stuff too, how it's basically just losing him money, but he just wanted to do it. And that's why it's working, because he just wanted to do it, and he's okay with that. But yeah, that's just how it goes. So yeah, so if you're sitting around and you're like, I want to get into this thing as a career, or that thing, when it comes to content stuff, no, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. You know, I don't want anyone to like look at it and think it makes a lot of money when it really does not. Because people will see something like they got this sponsorship and they got $200,000 for it, and they're like, wow, that's a lot of money. But then when you have a bunch of players living in a house, and then you also have like 3 managers and 2 coaches, that money goes real quick, and not everyone gets that much of that. You know, think about what you need per year to live. If you're trying to like have an apartment that's a normal size, like it just that amount of money burns up real quick, you know? So I think a lot of people have a really different impression of how much money actually gets passed to people. You know, every additional staff member you have is an additional mouth to feed, because these people, again, are like not looking to do this for free. They're like trying to do this as a job. So, you know, it's rough. It's rough. You mean you don't get all $6 I pay to Twitch? Yeah, that's why the donation link also exists. It does. Charlie's players also keep 100% of the prize pool. Yeah, exactly. They don't take a cut of that. Anytime a company like doesn't take a cut of everything, you know they're losing money. And like whatever they're doing during that time is cool while it's there, but it's not going to last. It's going to shrink down. It's going to have to, you know, like it's just not sustainable. So that's why you see a lot of esports teams have a good like year or two, and they're so popular and they're so famous, and they have all these, you know, bits of media going out. Their YouTube channels popping. They have their jerseys. They've got their merch store opening. Oh, they're winning. Oh, look at all the people on their team. They got all these coaches. It's so cool. And then you just like don't hear about them too much after that. They just kind of slow down on posting. They still exist, but they slow down. It's because they ran out of whatever money they had initially, and then, you know, they had to pare down and go quiet with it. And usually it's just like, it's like owner/coach that's left, and like one editor or something who's like part-time, and then the players who often leave the content house and start streaming a lot on their own to make money, and then they just live in like their own little apartments with a roommate. Like that's how it usually goes, you know. So how close are these companies to breaking even? They're usually very far in the negative, typically. Usually. Or they close it all down before it gets to that point. Oftentimes, it's like the individuals are in the negative for it, but not the whole company, because the company basically takes off the burden. So the company will stop paying out staff. Instead, it's more like, hey, the individuals, if you want to have hours with this manager, you can pay for it. And that's usually how they do it. So the entity, the company, stops owing money to anyone, but like the individuals still do if they want to keep up with that stuff. Like if they want to keep paying that editor, now they pay it themselves instead of the company. Stuff like that. That's usually how they like wind down on all that. They just kind of, they slowly stop paying for things for their players or for their talents. Same with like a lot of them are also content. I think like TSM, right? Like a lot of those types of companies, they were an esports team, but then they also started picking up creators. And what they usually do is they do signing bonuses for people. and they like pay for stuff for them in the beginning. So they have editors, they have a team, they have management. And then after that first year, if they don't like make a ton of money off of them, which they almost never do, they're like, okay, we gave you your year of stuff to help you grow. We can't afford to anymore. No, you could stay with the brand. We'll help you where we can here and there. But you know, there you go. And then you're just like, there's like nothing that you really get from them. They just exist. And for some people, depending on how they monetize, that's okay. For some people, they end up losing money that way. So like, you know, that's why a lot of people, some will stay, but a lot will leave those kinds of orgs over time. It ends up just not making sense for them. So I think what a lot of big esports teams are doing now is just making content. Yeah, it's really just like the owner barely living off of what the company makes, barely, and then they like part-time hire an editor. Sometimes it's just the talents under those companies pay for it. So, yeah. It's the same thing apply for VTuber agencies. VTuber doesn't take that big of a cut of anything, yet still has staff and stuff. There's a lot that I can't comment on with that. There's a lot legally that I can't say with that. I'll say in general, yeah, it's the same type of setup. So like, if you start not making money, then your choices are cut staff or go find money somewhere, which means either ask for more from the people that are with your brand, or you like try to go for an investment or something, or, you know, something like that. It's the same as esports. But yeah, every staff member you have is another mouth to feed in any company, especially if they're full-time or you're paying for like a lot of part-time hours or whatever. If you're paying them well and not shit wages, then, you know, it's a big cost and that has to come from somewhere. So most orgs, what they do for content for esports, whatever, is they start with an investment. So usually they do really well for that first year or two, not because they're monetizing well, they're actually like hemorrhaging money, but because someone paid them and gave them a chunk of money, and then they use that to hire in a bunch of staff to, you know, keep their team going to tournaments or whatever it is, or, you know, content house, all those sorts of things. And they set those people up, and they set the company up with a structure, and they have a bunch of staff and a bunch of players or content creators or whatever it is, right? And they usually do like 1 or 2 years that are great because the investment money is what's paying for people's salaries. And then at some point that money does not exist. They've drained that account. And they're making some money, but they're not always positive. If they are in the positive, if they're not as in the positive as they were to match the amount of investment money they had, then usually they have to just cut staff down, or go under, or whatever. Or they start, like I said, they start asking for more. So I know one friend who was on an esports team. When they were first picked up by the team, they were offered a spot in a content house that they didn't have to pay for. It was covered by their investment money. And then they were offered like free pay hotel and travel for every single tournament they went to. And a small salary for like food and just to live, right? And then when their company ran out of the investment money, it wasn't the company being evil or anything. It was just literally, hey, we have no money, so we need to pivot. Here are the options if we want to stay afloat. They cut staff down, so they only had 2 people. They said the content house, because it was rented, it wasn't owned. They said, you guys have to split the rent. The management will also live there and split the rent with you, so the split is low, but you will have to cover it. There's no longer a pile of money to pay for it. Someone has to cover it for this house to exist. So they all had to start paying a little bit of rent. And then they had to pay for their own travel and hotel to go to their events to compete. So if they didn't win, they lost money. And it just was the scenario where they were like, hey, unless we're like big streamers, which they weren't, they were like, we can't, this is like literally not doable. And yeah, they basically all had to like quit and go live at home with parents or go live with roommates where it's like a better situation for them instead of a big house. And they would still compete. They'd still do their scrims, and they were still a team. But then what they would do is they would try to take like as individuals, not as a team, sponsorships from companies like Razer or like whatever, like those sites, LG sponsored one of them once, and to try and get them to sponsor them just to cover their expenses for traveling out to their events. So instead of being like, hey, Razer, give me $2K a month for this or whatever, instead it was like, they would get sponsored, and then in return, anytime they had travel expenses related to going out to a tournament or something, they would just send that bill and they would get reimbursed by that company. And that was how a lot of them were able to do it in the future and like be okay, you know, not be like in the negative. But it's rough, man, because there's just no money in the industry. There's enough for some creators to do all right, and those creators will do all right. You know, there will be a few creators that do really well, but overall, most people, not so much. And certainly not enough to hire a lot of people. Like for my own staff that I pay for, I've got an editing team, but they're not like all full-time or anything like that. So I have like editing fees that I pay out each time I ask someone to do a thing. I have Bark, who does get paid a bit more because he's full content manager, and he helps me with so much shit. He doesn't just do like editing for my YouTube. We'll also be like, oh, I'm debuting this outfit, and he sits there with me and comes up with, hey, let's do this for a teaser. He came in so clutch for the sock puppet stuff. All of that was him, by the way. So shout out to him. All of that was him. And it was just, you know, he was great. He was great. He did so much work. But, yeah, I don't know. It's like there's not really much else that one can afford. That's really all it is, you know? But yeah, Bark is the best. He's simply the best. Are we being serious while talking through a puppet today? Always, always. Always. Would you say some VTuber agencies publish their numbers, right? I think they leave a lot out. From the stuff I've seen, I haven't looked super in depth at all of it. There are some that have published a couple things here and there, but there's a lot that's left out, and no one will ever 100% publish everything in and out that they do. So when you don't see, or when you do see, rather, when you do see someone publishing their numbers as a company saying, here's what we made on this, whatever, sometimes they'll show like total revenue in certain areas or something, but they're not going to show you like, here's our profit and give you a breakdown like, oh, plus our expenses, everything, we made exactly this and blah, blah, blah. And a lot of things are way overestimated. They're way overestimated a lot of the time. So I wouldn't go in and like full trust it. Hold on, answering for a collab thing. There we go. Wouldn't publicly traded companies have to be transparent with it? Again, they embellish. They love to embellish a lot, so I don't look at it and go like, oh, it's definitely correct. You know, not exactly. Yeah, exactly. They don't show their hand. Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't. You just shouldn't. You should leave a lot out. Like, I'll tell you guys some things here and there, but a lot of it I can't confirm because whatever they say publicly, like, it's not always exactly correct. You know? You know what I mean? They massage the numbers, rub a little oil on them, give them a little kiss, yellow, mwah, a little something. Exactly, exactly. You know, they get really embellished, though, I'm gonna tell you right now. I remember some companies, too, one thing I hate, something I can't stand, is when companies post their own numbers with nothing to back it up, because they'll never show you their actual receipts. Like, legally, they usually can't. They'll just say, here are numbers in general, and then they'll compare their numbers to publicly posted numbers from other companies. And I'm like, you know, you're all, like, kind of lying, right? Or you're all embellishing. Like, you can't go off of this at all. but then companies will use someone else's, like wink revenue numbers or whatever, and they'll be like, see, we're better because XYZ. And I'm like, all of this is shit. We shouldn't look at any of this. I don't know, man. That's why Microsoft says how many subscribers they have on Game Pass and nothing else. Yeah, exactly, right? They give you like one metric, and you can't even translate into money properly. Like, you think you can, but you can't. So it's interesting. You have to trust the public auditors are doing a good job. Yeah, well, that's if you get audited too. You don't always, you know? I'll publish my investments in takeout. Yeah. Yeah. Might be too specific. What's your opinion on companies stressing? Oh, earnings before, interest, taxes, depreciation. I always forget the A. Amortization, right? Fuck, what is the word? I know what you're saying. Yeah, I think it's good for them to post it like that. Yeah, amortization, thank you. My brain is always like farting on that one. It's good for them to present things that way because the way one company might handle finances and expenses versus another, you know, makes sense. I think it's a bad idea for them to post after that. Basically, like, you post after all money out and all adjustments, because then again you're completely showing your full entire hand and how things work and run to the public as a business that there's no good reason to ever do that. So yeah, for your big old acronym, yeah, it's a good thing that they post before that. It's not a good thing for those who are curious and want to know real information, but it's good for the company to not do that. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Said people keep getting mad at games doing that and using it as a barometer for if it's good or not, but won't actually talk about the game. Yeah, everything's so subjective. I mean, there's no point. How many sales did you make? Well, a sale is someone looking at a teaser thinking it looks cool and buying it. It doesn't mean a game is good, yet people will still be like, I want to know how much this sold, and then I'm going to use that number to say this game is better than that game. Okay, but what were the play hours? What percentage of users played beyond the tutorial, etc.? How many people actually opened it up? Like, those kinds of metrics are much more useful, but they don't tend to publish all of those. Steam shows some things, maybe with like achievements. I find it's a good way to figure out how many people finished a game. If a game has like a completed the game achievement, you see percentage of users that did that. Maybe if they even have that, but like, I don't know. That pisses me off too, right? Like, not deeply, I'm not like actually mad, but it's like just annoying to see people be like, oh, the sales of this game, something. At the same time, the only thing that matters from the company perspective is the sales, money-wise. I think for long term, if your game was good and people played it, that affects you, so it's important. But to impress an investor in a company, you just want your sales to be good. So all you need is for people to buy the game. Nothing else matters, right? In that scenario, when you're just trying to make your investor in your game company happy, did I sell my game? That is all that matters. So, you know, it just depends on who you are. Where do you work in this company? What do you value, right? Like, what's important in all these things is different to everyone, depending on who they are in this scenario, right? As the player, most important metric is this game actually good, right? Like, how many people completed this game? How many people got at least halfway through the game? So you could see, like, are people playing a lot of it? Are people playing a lot of hours? That's the most valuable thing to you, the player, because you want to buy games so you play and like it, right? But then if you're the investor, you're like, I don't care if this company does long-term well. I want them to make money back on the investment quickly so I can hop out of this deal or re-up a little bit or whatever the fuck. Sell the game. Sales numbers, let's go, you know? So, like, what's important to you depends on who you are, right? So, like, Blizzard with Diablo, yeah. Yeah. It's such a shame because I'm a Diablo lover. I like Diablo 2, you know? Actually, I really liked 4 up until the end game, and more recently it's gotten a bit better. But yeah, my Diablo fans, my older Diablo friends, just, we're all crying. I said Expedition 33 had a 20% completion rate when I checked, which was the highest I've ever seen by a lot. That is really high, yeah. And this is why I say to you guys, I'm like, hey, when you buy a game, buy it if you think you'll play it and put it in a list and get through your backlog, because most games have like 5% of people completing it max. It's scary. I don't think you have to complete a game to say that you liked it. Just put in a number of hours where you feel okay paying the price for it, and you're fine. If it's a longer game especially, like, you don't have to complete everything. You really don't. But you should play it a bit and enjoy it. Yeah, right? Like, at least. Until you feel like you're done with it. And you know, that's why I'm a fan of taking game sponsorships. Because then instead of you just looking at a teaser and going, oh, I'm going to buy it, you can actually see me play it for like, it's usually like 2 hours minimum that they ask me to play for sponsorship, minimum. So you'll see me playing a game for like 2 hours of real experience on stream, and then you can decide if you want it, right? So I much prefer like the sponsorship route and showing you thing that way instead of just being like, here's a teaser, you should buy it, right? So I personally always, before I was streaming myself, I would always watch streamers to see if I wanted a game rather than just like outright buying it and just being like, oh yeah, it's fine. I would at least want to see them playing for like 15 minutes or something and then decide. So yeah, you doing the demo day last week convinced me that I wanted several of the games. Yeah, and the thing is, like, that's you deciding that from actually watching the game be played. Hearing someone talk about it while they're playing it, right? Like that's so much more valuable to me than a teaser. And half the time when we're watching like Next Fest or all these different things where they're showing off game demos and stuff, I always sit there and complain because I'm like, what's the game about though? Because we keep seeing teasers that show cinematics and they show some story, but I have no idea what the gameplay looks like. And it's also very blended. We can't tell what's gameplay versus what's cinematic sometimes anymore because of how good graphics are. So there's a lot of stuff that I look at and I'm like, I don't know what this game is like at all. I know what the story's about now a little bit, but I don't know what the gameplay is like one bit from a lot of these teasers. So yeah, that's why for me, like I'm always pro sponsorship. I'll just watch someone do a sponsored segment. So I watch them play it like before it releases or the day it releases and see from that, because otherwise, I don't know. They look cool. You sent baby steps to your friend after I played it and he loved it. It's so good. It's actually so good. We discovered so many gems. And that's how I discover a lot of games I like playing. I'll get sponsored by something that looks interesting to me, and they'll send a little bit of gameplay footage and be like, do you want to do the sponsorship? And I go, yeah, it looks all right. I'll try it. And then I end up really liking a lot of them and finishing them like off stream on my Steam Deck half the time. So I like that stuff. I like that kind of stuff. Glad to see the art of the demos coming back too. Picked up Mica Punk. Yeah, I'm probably gonna play Mica Punk sometime soonish, I think. I gotta look. Still never finished V Rising. Get to where the grind is too much level 80ish, but I'd still recommend it to anyone. Oh, it's so fun. We've gone back and replayed it so many times at this point. I love it. I absolutely love it. You finished Outer Wilds a couple days ago because I was talking about it in cinema. Yes, it's so good. Wait, do you have the DLC? Did you play the DLC? I hope you beat base game and then you stopped and then did the DLC. Did you finally finish that? It's so good. Actually, speaking of Outer Wilds and the DLC, I think Archon just DM'd me. Oh, no, it wasn't Archon. It was someone else that starts with an A. I thought it was Archon for a second. I was like, there's no way. It was not Archon. He's a like a complete sicko for that game, the way I am. So we've been saying we'll like do a podcast at some point about it. I have to DM this person back though. Okay. Okay, there we go. DLC scared the shit out of you? Yeah, okay, but that was spoiling. Outer Wilds is so good. And then the DLC comes out, and it plays differently in a good way. It gives a slightly different flavor to the gameplay. Not completely differently, but slightly. And it's a bit spooky. And it is so good. It is so good. And I love the way the DLC, every little detail, every little thing in the DLC is a direct juxtaposition to every little detail and every little thing in the base game. And I could sit there and make a chart about every juxtaposition for hours. It goes so deep. It's great. And you don't have to notice any of those for the DLC to feel significant to you story-wise and for the gameplay to feel great. It's just like if you really like the game and you sit there and you pay attention to those things and realize how they juxtapose what's going on in the base game, you're like, it just makes the experience better. That's it. It's just seasoning if you want it. I love it. What did you say? V Rising community server we launched this last week. It's currently down right now, but I'm trying to fix it. Let me know if you need anything on that. Yeah, the community server is fun. I played it on the alt for a little bit. They did sponsor me, but it wasn't like a big paid sponsorship. It was, they gave me a bunch of game keys to give out if I just play a little, and I was like, you know what? With the new update, I would love to play it again. So, yeah, we spun up a community server so people could go through the new stuff and gave out a bunch of keys. What's the Rising? Go look it up. Really good game. Diablo-like combat, PvP elements, or PvE servers, depending on what you want to do. Base building on top of that. It's really nice. They warn you before you play the DLC. Yeah, Outer Wilds has... Oh, I was gonna say the game isn't scary, but that's me. I think there are parts of the game that can be really scary for people in the base game, but it's like these little bits, and then most of it, you get used to it, and a lot of it's not that bad. But there are moments in the DLC where people piss themselves, and it's not even a horror game. It's just like some of the things that happen just feel terrifying. It's like, it's not scary, but it is. But it's not. But it is. And it's you coming to terms with, like, being able to do it without freaking out. Because at the end of the day, like, nothing actually happens. You know? Like, nothing actually happens. But, oh, it's so good. The whole game is about overcoming fear. I wouldn't say that. Like, yes, other things too. But yes, that's one of the big underlying themes. Yeah. Yeah. But without it being, like, properly a horror game. I don't know. I love it. I love watching... This is why I love watching other people play it. Because there's so much beautiful stuff. There's so much wonder. There's so much exploration in the game. You're like, oh, the story is so beautiful. Oh, there's so much to do. Oh, this world is so gorgeous. And then, like, occasionally there's something really terrifying. And you see people, like, they're enjoying this game that's really, like, cool, but also really comforting to them. Yeah, filled with whimsy, right? And then all of a sudden there's a thing that makes them go, no, 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 no. And it's just... It goes from, like, their comfort game to, like, some spots that are just completely terrifying. Oh, it's so funny. Because they get so excited to explore every new area. And they're like, oh, it's so beautiful. And then occasionally something's awful. And they're like, oh. Love that game. It's so fun to watch streams of it. So fun. Scares seem to happen if you have certain phobias or get really absorbed into something and the tunnel vision breaks. Yeah. It's more about that. I think, overall, it still can be kind of scary. But yeah, I think it's more like if you're afraid of outer space, if you're afraid of, like, the endless expanse, kind of like thalassophobia with water. Some people are afraid of that. It could be scary, but if you don't really, like, have issues with that, it's not nearly as bad. It's not nearly as bad. And it doesn't jump scare you too much. Just a couple things that might, depending on how you bump into some stuff, you might get a little scared, but it's not really designed to always do that to you. So, yeah, not the worst. The ocean. I know so many people that can't play certain games because of it. I have a couple friends that couldn't play Dave the Diver. Even though it's this 2D little thing, it just getting dark as you go further down, they could not do it. Also because the background is like this parallax effect, so it does look like it's, like, actually deep. You get that feeling of being in the deep properly in a 2D game, and that just made it impossible for some of them. Obviously Subnautica, so many people can't play it. Game is great, but the fear, and then the fact that in Subnautica has some, like, really freaky things that show up in it, that just, you know, gets people. You're not touching Subnautica? I think what they should do is they should make a game, a Subnautica game, that is purely in coral reefs and, like, doesn't go into the deep. And it's just like a cozy version of the game. I think they should do, like, a happy Subnautica game for people that want that, and that's it. And then go back in the series to making, like, the ones that also have creepy shit going on. But I think people would love it. Maybe you're like in a giant pond and, you know, whatever. Into the shallows. So Subnautica Below Zero. No, Below Zero still had, like, depths and things that scared people. Absolutely did. Do you have a weird fear of space phenomena moving too fast? You registered the scales wrong. It unsettles you. In Outer Wilds was that in game form. Looks wrong to see planets orbit that close that fast. But after a while, I got very comfortable with the void of space in comparison. That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, the planets in Outer Wilds are small because they have to be small enough for you to fully walk around them, you know? But, yeah. Yeah. Isn't Subnautica 2 being worked on? Well, technically Below Zero was kind of Subnautica too. It was more of a prequel, wasn't it? Was it a prequel? Or was it a sequel? I don't remember. Wow, I actually can't remember. It was a sequel, right? Yeah. Okay. Did you play it on stream if like this faint memory? I played a bit of Below Zero on stream and didn't finish it on stream. I just don't like Subnautica that much. Sorry. I don't like it that much. The spooky bits are cool, I guess, but I don't really love horror games. Like, I'm not entertained by horror elements in games at all. So, outside of the horror elements, what's cool about floating through an empty expanse where you can't see anything for a while? There's not really much for me. Like, if you like the horror elements because the suspense makes you feel some emotion that entertains you, that's good. It just doesn't for me. So I felt like there just kind of wasn't anything for me in those games. And I didn't like the story of Below Zero that much. I think the story of the first game was more interesting. I don't know. I just didn't love them that much. And the base building was cool, but it wasn't really like super in depth. So that part wasn't really important to me. I just felt like I was like doing chores. And some games you're doing chores and I'm excited by it. I think it's fun, but in that game I just didn't. I don't know. I was just like, oh, go grab some fish so I can eat them. Oh, go grab these so I can get some water. Oh, build a base, and it's the same like 3 things that you can build over and over. Ooh, build a bigger ship and go around into the dark where I can't see shit. You know? Like that's kind of how it felt to me. It was like not bad, but I didn't love those games. You know? Below Zero seemed to have too much fun. Yeah, Below Zero wasn't that good. I did play the first game through fully eventually. Like, I did do that, but Below Zero, I didn't really, it was okay. It was okay. You get annoyed by the survival stuff in Subnautica? You usually love them, but the whole pick up 3 rocks and craft a submarine thing put you off. I know. I always thought it'd be cooler if, like, the machine could synthesize things and you just let it fabricate something and all you had to do was keep it powered above a certain level for a certain amount of time and just power it with different things. I would have done that instead of being like, you need specifically 3 rocks and 2 pieces of carbon and you can make a ship, you know? That's just me. I don't know. It was okay. Fatal Frame's really good as far as horror game goes. I think Fatal Frame's better. I still don't like it because I'm just not a horror lover that much. But I think the gameplay enhanced the horror themes in a way that still made them more exciting for someone who doesn't even like horror that much. Is better. It's not my favorite, but that's just me. That's just me. I don't know. I think I can't stand like Silent Hill gameplay, which is a shame because a lot of the like story bits are good. But I'll always be like a bit of a hater when it comes to Silent Hill because I just, depending on the game, really don't enjoy the gameplay at all. Same with Resident Evil. Loved 4. I don't know why I liked 4 so much. I remember playing it on, I think, GameCube a fuck ton. But that's because it was an action game. You know? Yeah, exactly. You said taco, right? A lot of the other games, the gameplay was just like, walk to this area, pick up this thing, walk to this other area, pick up this thing, slap 2 bits of a triangle together. It becomes a thing that's maybe shaped like a key. Go to that door and shove the thing in the door, and oh, it's a key. It opens the door. Now you have 3 more areas to walk through back and forth and pick up random objects. It was chores again, right? It was chores. So it depends on the game, but the ones that had more action elements I tend to like more, but it depended on if the gameplay felt good. So I liked 4 for that reason a lot. So I was glad when they remade it because I was like, yeah, that's the good one. 4 was campy and fun. It was really campy actually, but I like that. Vector Gardens of Ozma did well to make the chores enjoyable, it felt like. Yeah, I've been continuing it on the Steam Deck. It's really fun. They took the chore-based stuff and made it like a bit more automated. And then you could still do some of it yourself if you want, but it's really fast. You just spam a button and move around a little bit. It goes quick, so you can spend more time doing other shit. And I really liked that. So I like all the old Rune Factory games, but Guardians of Ozma so far is like Peem. It's very good. Very, very good. You heard of Guilty of Sokka? Played it, yeah. How's it possible you can play the song isn't copyrighted? I have explained it before, but streamers have ways they can play music without it ending up in the VOD, therefore you're fine. Luigi's Mansion is a better Resident Evil. Fight me. I love Luigi's Mansion. That's the thing. I fucking love Luigi's Mansion. But I think it's because the gameplay's fun. The setup of the levels is fun. The story isn't there to be like, ooh, so dark and creepy and spooky. It can actually be kind of scary, like little bits. But it's fun. The focus is on this is fun. And that's what I like. Because I don't really find horror at its core fun when it's just horrifying. Like, it doesn't do anything for me. So instead, they made like fun horror, and yeah, it was good. It was good. It's funny when you say you don't like horror, it's because you don't get scared versus getting too scared like most people. I think what people like about it is like a mix of a couple things. I think a lot of horror games get people because of the morbid curiosity. They have a story that's dark, right? The story is like, if I personify the story, be like, I'm dark and twisted, you know, and people's morbid curiosity is really peaked. That's why people like FNAF so much. The gameplay is just like, it's whatever, but people got so into the story and the characters and everything because it's like edgy and dark. I think people genuinely love that stuff. And then people like getting scared when they're set up to do it, when they're expecting it. They're like, I'm here to sit down and play a horror game, so I'm ready to be scared. And they like, maybe not the getting scared part as much as like the suspense. It's like going on a roller coaster for a lot of people, right? And there's this adrenaline rush that they get, and they enjoy that. But I don't really get scared. Therefore, I don't get the emotional roller coaster. And I might, like, when playing game on stream, I'll be like, would I get, like, jump scared or something? But I am immediately fine after the jump scare, right? I'm not like, oh my god, my heart, I'm dying. I just go, oh. And then I'm chilling. So if I'm like that, then I don't get a rise out of it. You know what I mean? So I don't, like, it doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't do anything for me. And if something is spooky, I'm not good at getting immersed in horror-based things or anything that should imply danger. I'm not good at getting immersed in it and really feeling scared because I'm so hyper-aware that this is just a game. So I just don't feel those things that strongly. So, I don't know. I'm really not good at getting immersed in, like, horror stuff. I can't separate the logical part of my brain that's like, yeah, it's pixels, though. You know? Like, I really can't. So I think that's what makes it not as fun for me. I don't know. FNAF was interesting because it's a horror game where you don't go out and hunt things, you just sit there and get hunted. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before. Like, I thought when the first game released, I thought it was a really cool little indie project. And I was like, this is a very cool style of gameplay where you're trying to, like tower defense yourself a little bit from these things. And you can only click certain buttons and you're a bit limited in what you can do. So sometimes you have to look away. And when you know something could be on your left side, but you have to look away, you know. I thought that style of gameplay was good for building suspense in a really simple to make game. Like coding that is very simple, right? So I thought it was a really cool project. I really liked like original FNAF. I didn't really love playing the game because I don't love horror, but like I thought it was cool. And then when it turned into this whole thing that like a lot of kids like because they got so into the story that was like retrofit each time to make sense with the last games, that's when I was like, I don't know about this one, man. That's what I didn't like. But I thought the first game was like cool as hell. I don't know. It was neat. Yeah, the Bite of 87. Yeah, yeah. Not my favorite. Not my favorite. Have you tried VR horror games? I have. Do you remember when I played... Do you remember me, Zen, and Haruka went through a VR horror game? And Haruka... she let out the most real scream I've ever heard from her. I don't remember what game we played. We did something in VR and she freaked out. It was so good. Monta levels? Yeah. It was completely real. It was nuts, man. Was it Backrooms? There's something else. What was it that we played? I don't know. We were just doing VR together for a day. And one of the things we did was a horror map. I think it was... I don't know if it was someone literally making PT, but it was a place that I think it was a VR world that was based off of PT. I think. Probably. I'm trying to remember what it was. I just remember we were walking around a hallway in a square, very PT-like, and then there was one of these inner, like if you're walking and turning right, you know, one of the doors on the right was the internal room. And I remember we open it, you walk in, and there's a thing that when you turn back and the door jump scares you. But the thing is, in VR, a lot of those things don't activate until you, the player, are in the room. So you see it at a different time when the other person sees it, depending on when you walk in that room. So I remember Haruka just like having a blood-curdling scream, and I was like, what's she screaming about? And then I go in the room, and then it triggers for me, and I was like, oh. All I saw was her walk in the room and scream and just stop because she was in desktop mode in VR. I was like, what are you doing? Shit was funny. Nowadays, the best horror games feel like the ones that hide it under 6 hours of mundane tedium to lower your guard, like Voices of the Void. Yeah, exactly. I kind of wanted to play that one. A few of my friends have been like, this feels like a very you game. But I don't know. I'm not the biggest horror person because they're just... It's hard for me to be scared if it's not real. I don't know. If you look at Glamrock Freddy's ballsack on night 4, you can find the lore for the visual novel. Oh my god. I kind of want us to make a horror game for this community, but it's literally that. Look into Dumpert's Jorts at 3 a.m. and you will get a lore cutscene. Guys, we gotta write a really cringe horror story for a simple game. And then we gotta get Markiplier to play it. And then I start to make merchandise of the characters. Okay, the horrible, scary characters. We need to hire someone to just draw like insane amounts of porn of like these random characters. We can't do animatronics though. That's been done, so we have to pick something else. But we gotta like make OCs for this. We need to do the thing where we both sell like not safe for work stuff to the adults, and then we also make like random shit for kids because that's what every horror game seems to do now. What are you saying right now? Minky, tell me I'm wrong. FNAF, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. What do you think they do? The official company licenses all this shit and sells it to kids, right? Because kids love FNAF. And then on the other side of things, you got all these adults drawing like so much porn of the characters. And I'm like, is that how you make money nowadays? Kind of scary. Kind of awful, but like I think that's how you make money now. I've noticed this with a lot of like stuff that's marketed to certain audiences. I don't love it. I don't like it, but it seems to be the way. Right? It's weird. Actually, yeah, worked for Overwatch. Yeah, I don't know, but I think that's just the way. So we got to make a horror game, get Markiplier to play it, and then we also have to make like a whole separate line of art that we sell on Patreon to other people. So guys, get to cooking, okay? Get to cooking. This is how we're finally going to make money, and we're going to fund the Geegoid compound. All right? So you can all live in the barracks. This is the only way. Get to cooking. Oh my god, wait. Horror game where you go pooping, can't see any shit mites and freak out. Wait, oh. Horror game where you're stuck on the toilet. Horror game where you need to run but you're stuck on the toilet and you're mid-poop. Oh man, wait, we're cooking. Okay, you're in a public restroom. Poop killer. we actually, I think for October we should play all the poop killer games. They're really good. Yeah, I think main character Glup Shitto, and we put him in the public bathroom. Call it Scared Shitless. Wait, here's the premise: you're camping, and you're camping in one of those campgrounds that has public restrooms. And you go in, yeah, and you have to go dark dumping because their lights are like not really working. So you have to poop. So you go to the first, like night 1, you go to the public restroom close to your little space and you go and take a shit and it works. But then you break the toilet. So the next night you have to go to like this random outhouse, this old outhouse. okay? And then that shit's out of commission. Third night, now you have to go shit like in the forest without walls around you. So you're just in the dark dumping. And I think we call the game dark dumping. I think we could do this. Guys, we should do a game jam where you guys all make games, but they're only your own version of dark dumping. And I think we could go crazy. But the thing is, I won't accept it unless you have like insane levels of lore hidden within it, okay? It has to have so much lore. It's the only way for us to sell it and get our gigoid compound. He said all 9 will kill you. We need it, man. Oh. Ooh, maybe in one of them you get stuck. You get stuck in the toilet. Oh. Ooh, Czar's cooking. You're on a cruise boat. Kraken attacks. You were taking a doo-doo. Tentacles crawl out from the toilet. But you're mid-poop, so you're trying to struggle with running versus staying above it a little bit to at least get your poop out. Oh my god. Dude. That's it. Because what makes horror games good is like suspense and like wanting to make certain decisions, certain choices, but feeling like you can't, right? Feeling a little trapped in decision. Yes. Yes. Remember in Itch Game where you have to fix the toilet, but you get stopped by a QuickTime event to hold your piss in while stuff is just jump scaring you to piss yourself? You could get up and run, but then you're like, you got the groundhog going on the whole time. So you could do that, or you could like sit through more horrific stuff and like get it out and then run. Maybe the pro tag has really bad IBS. So all this stress is like making it worse too. So you get less stressed if you don't look at things. So imagine you're running through a hallway or running through a forest, okay? And like there's a sound to your left. And you know you can do some sort of mechanic to turn and like do a thing and block it. But if you don't look, you get less scared. You know what I'm saying? Like we can do a lot of interesting mechanics with this. Like not looking and not giving yourself like, you know, that moment of clarity is what makes you play the game better, but it's more horrifying. Manage your stress / poop bar versus your run speed while the monster chases you. Oh, you want Garrick as the VA? Oh my god. And then all the monsters are Dread. It's just Dread going, what are you doing in there? What's going on, man? You better come out of there. I need to go. Wait, I have so many potential VAs. No, actually, honestly, I would hire a lot of people to VA different monsters, and I would 100%, I would get Burn. I would get Burn. Remember when he RP'd alone in the corner in SCP with himself in front of this PC object, trying to pretend that he was making the beautiful creatures? He was playing a scientist, and he was like, my beauties! He just RP'd with himself for 15 minutes. We need him. We need him on the job. Hi, Kermodo. Who said Kermodo's name? You summoned him. Yeah, you were summoned. Kermodo, hey, we're gonna do a game jam. My community is gonna help me make a game. It's a horror game about pooping. Really scary stuff happening out in the forest, but you gotta take a shit. All right, there's the premise. I need people to voices out in the woods. So I think I need you. I think I need Burn. They really want Garrick. They really want Garrick. We need a lot of people. I want Dread. Nature Calls. No, I want to call it Dark Dumping. I want to call it Dark Dumping, okay? We have to. Did I ever tell you the Dark Dumping story? Did I ever tell you that? This thing my brother used to do. This thing my brother used to do. Oh, it was so funny. It was so funny. Okay, so it's not even a crazy story. It was just so fucking funny. One of my brothers would... So there was this one bathroom that he would go to in his school. And it was like in the basement and like nobody would be around. Because if he needed to poop, he didn't want people around. He was really embarrassed, okay? And he's very introverted and he just couldn't, he would do anything to not be in a bathroom pooping while someone else is in there, okay? So he would go to this bathroom in like the basement of his school where no one was around at the most dead time, okay? And he'd go poop in that bathroom. But what he would do, because he was this level of stressed all the time by people existing and knowing that he existed and that he pooped, he would turn the lights off. So people thought that the bathroom was like not open. And he would go poop while it was dark so that people wouldn't like be like, oh, bathroom's open, and go in there. It was his genius strat, apparently. So he would do this. Hi, Frederick, I'm telling you about my brother's poop lore. So he would do this. And one time, one of his friend told me about this after. One of his friends opens that door and turns the light on and goes, hello? Because he saw like feet, he saw legs in a stall. He walks in, he turns the light on, he realized someone was in a bathroom stall, but it was pitch black in there. So this friend of ours goes, hello? And he said to me that my brother went, turn it off, I'm dark dumping. Because he heard the hello and realized it was his friend. So instead of saying quiet, he said, turn it off, I'm dark dumping. And he went, our friend went, okay, and turned the light off and left. And he tells me that story every time I see him. He's like, yo, remember when your brother was dark dumping? Oh, it was so funny. So now like that phrase dark dumping has just existed like between my friends, like my brothers, for the longest time. Because my brother claimed he was dark dumping. That's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, that's the strat if you're really afraid of people knowing that you poop. Just go find a bathroom, turn the lights off, close the door so people think it's not real. It's so stupid, man. Oh. I think when he was younger, he was just so afraid of, like, everything. So even now, he's so anxious about everything. And he doesn't act anxious, but he has these weird behaviors from it, and it's stuff like that. Like, your brain does some mental gymnastics, like, you know, a good idea would be to shit in the dark with the door closed so that no one comes in so they don't know that I poop. Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's so weird. That's the guy in the next install next to the pro tag. A guy that wants to keep dark dumping, so every time you try to turn the lights on, he's like, turn it off. I want a dark dump. Oh, man. Oh, man. That has to be Dread. That has to be voiced by Dread. I'd like the lights off, please. And then voiced by Kermoto. Actually, Kirby would do really well with that, too. It has to be Kermoto or Dread. I'm dark and twisted. I need the lights off. Yeah, we need Mike in there. We need Mike in there. We need to make it really scary. We need to make it so that there's like a character next to you also pooping in the stall. We need to have like very American bathroom stalls too, where the lower edge of the stall is like way too high up and you can see like the entire person's legs next to you. We need like the person next to you like reaching their hand and being like, I need toilet paper. You know, they keep like reaching into your stall and stuff. Yeah, we need to make it so uncomfortable. Yeah, they peek in. Oh my god. What if like some of the monsters are just no monsters. What if it's just people and some of them just try to like look through the cracks and you gotta like use your hand to cover it? Just an eyeball peeking through the crack would be so horrifying. Oh my god. Wait, we can make it so scary. And it's like a bloodshot eye. Oh god. You've got the perfect character voice for the guy next to you pooping. You're gonna send the audition reel. Yes. Yes. That is my nightmare. I think it actually would be horrible. If you fail the wiping QuickTime event, the toilet paper rolls into the adjacent stall. Oh my god.
Going dark, caca.
Stop. That's it going dark. Thank you for the bits. Oh. Someone bangs on the door saying, hurry up. What if it becomes like it becomes everything everywhere all at once? What if the final mission is just you're so overwhelmed because there's so many things happening? It's like that game. What's that game? There's like a new horror game released where you're like a kid playing on your Game Boy in a car and you're trying to like you have to like grab the wheel and swerve, and then you also have to block the windows from monsters and shit, and it just, I was watching a few people play it and they were just getting so overwhelmed and they were like pressing a billion buttons. It was like fast FNAF. Yeah, the car game. Yeah, the one where you're in a car. make it like that, where by the end of it, you just get so overwhelmed. There's just so, you're like covering people's eyes, trying to peek through the gaps, and like you're trying to stuff toilet paper in the gaps. I think it should be like that. Minigame's better than the actual game? I know. That game looked both good and like garbage. I kind of liked it. I liked watching it. I didn't want to play it, but I liked watching it. It just looked so overwhelming. But I think that's sort of what FNAF set a precedent for. Like, there's something fun for people about, like, just consistently working against a thing at rapid pace. Like, just getting freaked out because you're overwhelmed. I think people pay for that experience. I don't know. Dead Seat. Thank you. That's what it was. Yeah. It looked pretty cool. I just was trying to imagine. So in the game, you're like a kid in the backseat of the car, and you have like what looks like a Game Boy or like a DS or something. You know, you're holding it and you're playing a game on it, and there are monsters in the game, and the things that are happening in the game are also happening in real life around your car. So you would like turn to your left and like cover a window. You do a thing and take a picture and like flash at the monster to have it like go away. And you're just like doing little things to get these monsters from being able to harm you. But one of the things you do is when there's something in the road that you need to swerve out of the way of, you just reach your hand from the back middle seat. You're like the child in the back seat. You just reach your hand up and grab the wheel and swerve. And I'm like, now hold on. What parent is letting this happen and isn't turning around and smacking the shit out of them for doing that? Like, like the character can just reach forward and go skirt, like around something and just grab the wheel. like I'm sorry, if I'm driving and someone reached over and grabbed the wheel, I'd cut their arm off. I would never. Oh no. Terrible. I don't know. It's one of those things. I was like, my immersion. It was funny as hell. Yeah, like Kevin's parents. Exactly. Looked like a cute game though. Oh my god. I picked up my water to drink it, except I just picked up a hair clip. I just reached and picked it up and lifted it up, and it was like not water. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm a little cooked today. Sorry, I had a full weekend of doing shit with family and all that. I was just out and about doing a lot, and my sleep's a little messed up. It's a little messed up. I'm a touch cooked. But I'll be aight. Quench your thirst with a handful of loose hair. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Watching a bit of that game made you feel travel sick? Really? Airdorf did a game jam concept like that. You played a Tiger handheld while scary stuff happened. After the handheld ran out of battery, you went downstairs to get more. Then the monster would show up. Short but effective. I like Airdorf a lot. That's the person who did Faith, the Unholy Trinity. I follow them on Twitter. But I like Airdorf a lot. Does a lot of really cool projects. Yeah, Mortis. I kind of want to play more of those games because they were kind of fun. I always wanted to play Faith 64. I don't know if you ever saw that. It was a project where someone took the game Faith and just made it into a 64-esque game. But it also looked like it played really rough. So so I don't know. Maybe not. I did like the gameplay wasn't like anything revolutionary, but it was kind of fun. I enjoyed playing the game, so this is one of the horror games I did like. You don't like horror where it's a bad stealth game? Yeah, like one of the games I think I hate the most that I watched so many friends stream and I just could not wrap my head around was Alien Isolation. It was just a bad stealth game. You just hide under a desk, watch the thing walk around, go, and then you walk to the next area, hide behind a thing. The thing's like breathing a lot, walks past you, walks away, and then you walk to some other spot, and then it breathes a lot. And I was like, what? This doesn't look fun. I don't know. Once you get the flamethrower, it's pretty much done. Yeah, and then you just, like, cook them. I don't know. It didn't seem that good. It didn't seem that good. I thought, like, Visage looked like it was pretty well done with the horror elements, but I don't really, like, get scared, so I didn't like it because I felt like you were just walking through the same areas over and over. But some of the visuals of that game were really cool, so I liked that one a little better. But I didn't play it. I sat there with Henya while she was playing it. I was her emotional support. And I felt bad because she was getting so scared, but I kept laughing because the old lady ghost looked like Justin Timberlake. like when he had the curly hair and he was like, it's gonna be me. It looked like that. So when she like turned her head around a corner, I was like, oh my god, she looks like Justin Timberlake. And Henya's like crying in the call. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, Justin. Shit was funny. That shit was really funny. Some of the visuals of that game were really cool, though. So I appreciated it, like, artistically it was cool. I don't know. But yeah, some of the mechanics seemed, like, not fun. I don't know. It had its moments that were good and bad. I hate the horror games where it's just find key, open door for 20,000 levels, which a lot of them are. A lot of them are. I don't love those. I don't know. I'll do that for friends, though. They don't always call upon it, but, like, I am available. If they want to play a horror game and they want someone to sit and call who does not really get scared, I'll just sit there and, like, help them out. I think that is when her like, I have to be like GEEGA thing started, was right? Was it at the Visage arc? When I sat with her and she was amazed that I wasn't, like, crying over the Justin Timberlake ghost. It was just so hard for me to not laugh because it literally looked like Justin Timberlake put his head around the corner. It was so funny. And then you get closer and, like, she looked less like him, but, oh, man. That was funny as fuck. It was so funny. I think it's good that she gets scared, though, because, honestly, like, that's so fun to watch as a viewer. I think if you're a streamer and you get really scared by horror games, that's great. That's great, and I am truly envious. I wish I was, like, piss my pants levels of scared because it's so funny from, like, the other side watching that. It's so fucking funny. I just feel like, I don't know, my reactions to, like, horror games are, like, not funny because I'm just like, oh, haha. Or sometimes people still like watching it because they laugh with me, you know. I do find that, like, it's not the worst, but people can tell when I'm not that entertained. I think mouthwashing was a great example because I was trying to get into the story, but there were so many bits of it that were just so stupid. And I think while playing it, I had an okay time for some things, but I didn't like that game. I really didn't like that game that much. There were elements of it that I really liked, but I think there's so many ways that writing could have been different to really make that story be different and, like, hit, and it just didn't. It just felt not deep. I don't know. The game made you so mad. I didn't like the Meat Nightmare. Right, the end of the game killed it. I think I was more excited for, like, the first half of it playing it because I felt like the build-up was good. I felt like all the beginning stuff was going somewhere that felt good, and I was like, oh, this is getting cool. And then, yeah, I don't know. It just like, it just fell off. At some point, I feel like it didn't know what to do with itself. It didn't know how to end in a meaningful way, and it just fell off. And the ending made me mad. I didn't like it anymore. But it started out cool. I don't know. Man. I would have written it differently. I think the end was really killed it. Most horror games have a problem paying off the suspense. I think what it is the writers. I think the developers are usually the writers. They don't usually hire in, like, a really good writer. Case in point, Outer Wilds has some of the best story. It's written so well. It's looped into the gameplay so well. How did they do it? They hired a really good writer. That was it. They hired a really good writer. Then again, a lot of smaller studios, they were a smaller studio for the record. They just decided to put their budget there. But smaller studios with no budget don't have the budget to do that. So it's developers, people more technically inclined, that end up being the writers, you know? And I think they have good ability to come up with really cool premises they can come up with a really cool plot idea, but then doing the actual writing to have the payoff work, like the second half of the game, it always falls off, always, because it's hard to do that unless you have a lot of experience writing. Like, it's really tough. It's really tough. Everyone can write a great first chapter to a book, but, like, it's so hard to write a good last chapter. So, I think that's the issue with them, you know? When I don't like a game, I'm not like, these devs sucked. Or if I don't like the writing, I'm not like, how dare these people who are mostly game devs be bad at writing? Like, I just wish they had budget to hire writers. Sometimes there are devs that are good writers. Sometimes there are, but, you know, not always. But usually, a lot of the games that people like, the full writing itself isn't what they like. They like the idea of it. They like the world building or something like that, you know? Probably have to get them very early on in development too. If you're willing to go back a lot, you don't have to, but I believe Outer Wilds did get their writer in fairly early. So they had, the thing is, their game was basically like functionally kind of built because they did an alpha as a school project. Thank you for the bits. And that was doing pretty well. And then after that, they wanted to make it into a fuller game. They wanted to add story, then they hire the writer. So it was early enough, yeah, that there was a lot that they could do with it. What I liked was that writer, like, they did so much with trying to not add dialogue. Like, the writer was saying, they did an interview with her, and she was like, my main thing with writing Outer Wilds was I was trying so hard to say everything that needed to be said in as little dialogue as possible. So you spend less time writing or reading the writing and more time looking around and, like, thinking about those 2 sentences you read and then looking around the environment and seeing what they meant by it, you know? So because she was so involved in whittling down the writing and then helping them come up with ways to apply it in the world. So she was helping the art team, like, how can we put something in the environment that clues them into a deeper meaning to what they just read, you know? Like, that was really valuable, and that's what made that writing for that game go from, like, not bad to really, really good, was having that person where their whole interest in the game was specifically making sure that the writing hit and that the story hit, you know? That was the best part of that. You don't think devs require writers to tell a good story, especially when they're the ones creating the worlds? I think they still do, a lot of the time. The thing is, like, are we saying just tell a story? Or are we saying, like, tell it well? Because to just tell the story, they can just do that. But one thing that makes a lot of people not like certain games or makes the story not hit is when they, like, spoon feed it to you, which I find a lot of indie devs do. They can't help themselves. They just spoon feed. A great example was Superliminal. Superliminal was a great one. It was all like this environmental storytelling, and they were cluing you in that something was a little off in this puzzle game world. And you're like, oh, okay. All right. Interesting. And like, all of the story was going really well. And then you get to the end of the game, and they spoon feed it to you, and they make this whole weird ending sequence to the game where they basically tell you exactly what they want you to get out of the story and in what way. And what it, like, this is what the deeper meaning is, by the way. It's like they wrote their own explanation of it. And it took what was building up to be really good and just completely flopped on the story. If you played up until that point, it was a little more open to interpretation, but it felt more impactful. And then it just stopped right there. It was bad. It was bad. And I find a lot of people do that because they don't know how to write well in a way where they can, like, leave gaps for you to assume. They feel like they, like, need to tell you, and that can ruin it for a lot of people. It implies only writers tell good stories, though, which is silly. I think you're thinking that I'm generalizing everything more than I am. I think you're not getting what I'm saying. I'm saying the best tend to be done by writers. I'm not saying it's impossible. That would be like saying, I got bitten by a dog once, therefore every dog bites and is mean. You know, like, I'm not generalizing that much. Good horror game doesn't need to have payoff, but it has to have very consistent atmospheric tension. Yeah. I agree. Which a lot of the better ones do. That's why people liked, that's why people liked PT so much. It just got more and more unsettling, and, like, kind of slowly, kind of bit by bit, one thing would go wrong, and you look at a spot and you'd be like, oh, like, expecting that wrong thing to be there again, and it wouldn't be. So now you're like, oh my God, what else is wrong? You know, and it just, that was a really good one for that reason. It's just the atmospheric tension. It was good. I don't really love that sort of thing, but, like, I got it. You know what I mean? I got it. think a better ending to that game would have been if the game looped back to the start. Yeah, actually, yeah. And it was implied that you're like stuck in a cycle. I kind of thought that that's where it was going, and I was like, ooh, it's getting somewhere nice, and it just didn't. It just didn't. I don't know. I love leaving room in a story. That not being a thing is one of my biggest pet peeves. Yeah, I think that's what most indie devs kind of like run into, is they want you to understand their story, but their games aren't usually like long enough that they can sit there and have you go through all this dialogue, because what they're thinking in their head would be like a 60-hour game with gameplay and all this talking in between. So they're like, how do I deliver this story well? And they end up just packing sections of their game with like explanation, stuff that they really want you to know. I think a lot of folks, writers do this too, a lot of folks tunnel vision on what they want you to get out of it, when really what's more impactful a lot of the time is letting the person get what they're going to get out of it. Letting their own unique life experience in mind just kind of figure out what it's going to get from the story. So they love to like not leave room. And I feel like when you put someone on rails through a story, that leaves no room for them to relate to it in their own way. And that really, 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 that tunnel visioning like is what gets people not liking a lot of the writing. Yeah, a lot of people say Disco Elysium was like their favorite, and it's so writing heavy, but it was good. But I don't know, was it the dev that did that one? Was that dev just really good at writing, or did they have like a team? Let's see. Writer. Primary writer for Disco Elysium is Robert Kurvitz. He also served as the lead designer. He was one of the founders of the studio. Okay, so designer and writer was his role, which makes sense. It definitely felt like the game was designed around the writing of it, from what I've seen, more than anything. He's an Estonian novelist. Okay, he's a novelist. That makes sense. Ooh, he got an award for best game writing, a Nebula award. Ew. That makes sense. I think when a game is like that, when the writing is that good and it's that writing heavy, I can't imagine it's not written by someone who just is a writer by trade in some way, shape, or form, you know? Ooh, you said Firewatch was really annoying at the end for exactly what I'm describing. Oh yeah, the way they just like tell it to you. They're like, this was the story, by the way. I agree. I felt like the ending put you fully on rails in a way that I kind of didn't want out of it. I was feeling the game for the first bit, and then, yeah, hamfist is a good way to put it. Like, they just kind of shove the story down your throat at the end. I don't know. It up until, like, the last quarter of the game, I was really with it. And then in the end, they're just like, oh, by the way, none of it was really like anything crazy. And it was actually just this one thing. And here's the guy is going to give you a tell all. Like, he did something that felt out of character. The dude that was the culprit just did a tell all and just told you everything in some recording. It's like, by the way, here's why I did everything and everything I was thinking and blah, blah, blah. And here's all the pictures of me and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why did we get spoon fed this at the end? I don't know. Yeah, they gave too much closure. It was like they thought you needed closure when you kind of didn't. Ruin the lonely, mysterious atmosphere they'd spent the whole game building up. Yeah, and like all that stuff with Delilah, the whole game was revolving around you trying to figure out, like, can you trust Delilah or not? What's she about? What's her thing? And then they just dropped it at the end. They just dropped it. They were like, by the way, it was like nothing though, haha. And I was like, well, then what did I spend this whole game doing? What was I here for if we were just gonna get to the end and they were gonna be like, it's fine, by the way, Lamau. Right? So I think everything up until that last chunk of the game was really good, and I got why people were like, oh, you should play this, it's good. But then the ending, I was like, you can't tell me you like this ending. Like, I don't know. It threw it off. Up until then, though, I was with it. Yeah, it was near miss. They almost got it. They did. I liked it. Up until that. You said the opposite also sucks. Hate endings where they just leave it up to your imagination. Yeah, I think it should be guided. Like, they leave it up to your imagination on the details, but the general something is kind of like somewhat guided. You're given clues, and then you can kind of make up in your mind what you want to get out of that. Or maybe they show you what it is, but they don't tell you. I just don't want them to tell me the meaning. The Outer Wilds was great for that. Outer Wilds ends. I'm not going to talk about the ending because I don't want to spoil. Please don't chance spoil anyone on the ending. But you get to the ending, and you're shown something that you can interpret. And a lot of people do interpret it similarly in a big general kind of way. But as for the specifics of what you're supposed to get out of it, the real specifics, that is all up to your own interpretation. And that's what I really like about that. So what it means to you and what it means to how you feel about what you did in the game, everything is different depending on the person. But it's not so vague that you're like, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know what's going on, right? Because I hate that too. Like, when a game ends and you're just like, okay, well, what's happening? And you just feel confused. That's such a bad feeling. Open-ended, like so many fun theories crop up. And they did kind of leave some stuff like not open-ended. They showed you very specifically like what kind of happens with some things, but like it's just shown in a little imagery and that's it. You know? Yeah, timeline would be a big help. Aegis Rim did a good job. I don't actually know what ever went on with that one. I never really did much with that game. Movie? Game? I think Yakuza's some of the best crime drama writing. Yeah, a lot of hey, it's Like a Dragon, by the way, but yeah, a lot of the Like a Dragon games, crazy good with it. I really loved Mafia 1. Since we played 1 and 2 now. I liked the writing in 2. It just felt like they rushed the ending a bit. I felt like if they were given more time, it could have been perfect. We didn't get enough development in Vito, the main character. But the first game was so good. That game was so good. Missed Mafia 2. I know, I'm sorry. I wish I could save the VODs. It's just the in-game music is all DMCA. And I just can't afford to do it. I can't afford to just go and get strikes on my shit. So, yeah. We had to do it. It's not too long, though. I would say just play it yourself, honestly. It was pretty good. There's a lot of cut content in Mafia 2. Yeah, I kind of, after what I went and read about it, I was really curious to see, like, how much was actually cut. Like, how much was this affected? And a lot was cut. A lot. The dog analogy was so crazy. Oh, yeah, he's like, you're like that dog. You're just getting fucked. Oh, what's his name? Was giving like that. He was in the car. He was trying to help Tommy. He's like, I'm telling you this because you need to know. You need to know. Claire Obscure writing is really personal, intimate. Everyone says it's really good. I would like to play it at some point. I gotta say, I'm trying to not be judgmental, but I've seen some clips of like some characters walking around. There are 1 or 2 things that I saw, and I was like, I don't aesthetically like this, I think. But again, these are like 2 20-second looks I got. So I'm trying to not judge the whole game off of that. But there are some things I've seen in the game where I'm like, some of this might not be my vibe. I'm not sure. But see, this is the problem. You said the writing's really personal and intimate. I don't like those words. I don't like those words, man. Because when people describe things as that, sometimes they just mean it's like, it just hit close to home for them, which is fine. Sometimes that means like, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it without being mean, but sometimes it means a thing I won't like. Characters looked a little odd to you sometimes. I think it's just the designs. I think it was just the designs. I think what I saw was like, I saw a character like walking around and they were like floating like a little fairy, and something about it just really pissed me off. And it was such a little thing. So again, I'm trying not to judge the game based off of that. But like, I don't know. I saw some lady floating around like a little fairy, and I was like, I don't like this. I don't know why that pissed me off so much, but I didn't like that. I didn't like it at all. I don't think that makes the game bad at all. I just saw it and was like, Loon, is that her name? Let me see. Yeah, and she didn't wear shoes. Yeah. It was the way she was floating. It was just something about like one little segment she was floating in. And I was like, why is this happening? I don't know what this game's about. Heard people referring to it as the next Lost Odyssey. Haven't played either though. Oh, no. I'm gonna say this right now. I'm not gonna go into it with that expectation because I think Lost Odyssey is the greatest JRPG of all time. I think it is the best one with the best writing, the best everything. Okay. Now, could this also be good? Yes, games can be good. I will play it and I will give it a fair shot and I will not go into it like, does this beat Lost Odyssey? I'm just going to play it as its own game, you know? But I'm just saying right now, I'm a sicko for Lost Odyssey. I'm an absolute sicko for that game. I played it right when it came out. I've replayed it multiple times. I think it's the best. The writing is the best, has never been beat in my mind. So I don't want to hear it because I think a lot of people saying it's the next Lost Odyssey were people that, one, hadn't really played that game that much, two, only said that because of the combat, because you do quick time shit while fighting in a JRPG game. I think that was literally JRPG. I think that was literally the only reason so many of them were saying that. Plus it had like a good story. And I'm like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of people comparing games over like one detail. Sea of Stars does it too. I know, and people were like, oh my god, it's like a 2D Lost Odyssey. I played it, I was like, no, it's not. It's a really good game on its own, but it's not like Lost Odyssey at all. Like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? And they were like, because in the combat, you have to press a button at a certain time, or you hold the thing down and then let it go in the middle of the combat, and it's like revolutionary. And I was like, this doesn't make the games alike. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, very surface level. Doesn't mean they can't both be good. I don't know. It just doesn't mean you should, like, compare them that heavily. They're not that similar. Or, yeah, every game with parrying and a stamina bar and melee combat, they call it a Souls-like, but there are games that feel like a Souls-like. Like, Liza P felt like a Souls-like. But then you got games like Wukong, where it just feels like an action RPG. Right?
I was gonna say, didn't we figure out interactive combat and defense in South Park Stick of Truth back in 2014?
Back in my day. Never heard of this, but I guess it's not a Steam. Lost Odyssey? No, it's stuck in the Xbox 360 mines. So you can still play it on a modern Xbox, but it's stuck in Xbox. So it was the Square Enix team that made all of the Final Fantasy games. It was most of that team, plus like a novelist from Japan that they brought in for the writing, and a few other people. And that team made a JRPG that was just not in the Final Fantasy universe. It was not named it. It was not part of the IP or franchise. It was just its own thing. And it was really amazingly good. That's all. So it's a good team that we know makes good games. And then they made their like magnum opus of a JRPG that wasn't tied to a brand, so it didn't have to like be stuck in that IP. And then yeah, the writer that they hired for a lot of writing within it, one of the writers I should say, was a really, really famous Japanese novelist, and he wrote all the stuff where you like pick up lost memories and stuff, and you get to like read through that. It's purely read. You just read through it. He wrote all of those, and people would like cry while reading them. It was so good. It was so good. Pretty sure it was Xbox Game Pass. They might have it on Game Pass. I don't know. But the original game was 360. So it wasn't played. That's the thing. When a lot of people say they play it, I don't believe that they played it back in the day, because it was stuck on 360 and the sales were not that incredible. It's one of those things where people will be like, oh yeah, I know a lot about that game. I didn't play it, but I know a lot about it. And I'm like, okay, I'm so sure. I'm so sure you did. Right. You saw the physical copy? Me too. It's like enshrined in my room. it's just one of my most favorite games, man. So good. As a person who did not play any JRPGs, do you think I should play it? Probably unrelated, but only I would say yes if you're looking to get into a JRPG. It's really, really, really good. But it's not super easy. It's a pretty, I'd say as you get mid to late game, that game gets pretty difficult. you have to think really far ahead in a lot of fights, and you have to execute a lot of things pretty perfectly to do well. I would still say try playing it, but if you don't want to think a lot, I would play something else as your first JRPG. Actually, I would play Dragon Quest XI. That's another one that's in my like top few. Dragon Quest XI is so good, and not going to be quite as hard as Lost Odyssey, but really good game. Highly recommend it. One of the things I always talk about is that game is one of the first games where I saw them do like the opening cinematic of the game, and the opening cinematic, the camera pans and then just like boom, you're in combat. Like it was like seamless between the cinematic and the combat. I had not really seen many games do that before, if at all. And I remember back in my day, that shit hit me so hard when I saw it. I remember seeing it and I was like, there's no way they just did that. That was so cool. And it was just like, it's a thing that nowadays they do a lot, but yeah, the opening was incredible. Like a full war scene, and then you just see your solo dude just like killing everyone, and then you're playing as him. Oh, tired of being a teenager in RPGs. Yeah, well, the main character of Lost Odyssey is an adult man. He's like 30, or the equivalent of 30, the JRPG equivalent. He's like in his 30s. He's just a cool guy, and he doesn't make stupid decisions that piss me off all the time, unlike most like plucky teenager protagonists in those kinds of games. You know, characters like fucking Lloyd in Tales of Symphonia. Fuck that guy. Great game, but holy shit, did he piss me off. But Kaim was like a pretty down-to-earth, like normal dude. Sort of a man of few words a lot of the time too. Really good main character. The ancient age of 30. Well, I mean, when you compare it to a lot of JRPGs where the protag is always like 15, it's always a coming of age story, which I think is a really good premise. It's just when they're all like that, you're really tired, you know? So yeah, when you compare it to that, yep. I think you should all play it. You should all play it. 13 was the first time you truly hated a fictional character, all of them. I mean, I don't know. There are plenty of times where I've hated characters, but yeah, 13, there were a lot I didn't like. What are your thoughts on Kick? Do you mean the streaming website? Why'd you capitalize it like that? Same with Mac, though. I just liked him a lot at first. I think Mac was written for you to not like him, and then over time, you come to love him like your own child. Skies of Arcadia. Yeah, that was really good. I'm hoping that we get switch to GameCube emulator Skies of Arcadia. That's what I want. I don't know if they said they were going to release that or they didn't or what, but that's what I want. That is what I want. I need to bring it back. It was really good. It was really good. A lot of games that were on the GameCube, I feel like a lot of people just didn't play. They just didn't play. It just wasn't one of the most sold consoles at all. So it's kind of a shame that some of those really good games died there, but I think GameCube had my most favorite game library. I think. When switched to Shenmue. Shenmue, wait, we need Shenmue. You're right. You're right. I'm supposed to get my Switch 2 soon. Mine was being sent out to me. I might actually get it today. Hold on. Let me check my tracking. Because I really wanted to, as soon as I get it, I want to play Mario Kart. I don't know how many of you two, how many of you, why did I say you two? I don't know how many of you got a Switch too. But if you guys have any of Mario Kart, then, you know, I want to do lobbies and stuff. Oh, yeah, I don't think it's delivered yet. Should be delivered like today or tomorrow though, so I should have it pretty soon. So I think Wednesday. We could do it. What are you excited for on Switch 2? I think I'm most excited for Metroid Prime 4. I think I'd have to pick that as the number one. Trying to think about what else is on there. Let me look, or what's announced. Let me see. Oh yeah, Air Riders is gonna be good. Kirby Air Ride 2. I loved the first one so much. Let me see. Switch 2 games. I can't even remember off the top of my head what was announced. Every Switch 2 game currently confirmed as of a month ago. Let me see. Yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza, obviously. Oh, they're releasing Hitman World of Assassination on there. I'm gonna play it. I wanna check out and try how the Switch version plays. They're gonna do another Hyrule Warriors in the winter. Obviously, there's gonna be Silk Song. Kirby Air Riders, I'm very excited for. They're doing a Switch 2 edition of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, but they also said plus Star-Crossed World. Might be good. We got Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I'm going insane for that one. I really want to play that. Professor Layton, there's going to be another one. I haven't played any Layton games, but I love little detective games, and people keep telling me to play them, so I'll probably do that one. Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar, you know, I'll play that. There's not too much else announced. I'm excited to see if Wild Hearts S actually does do well on there. I played it when it first came out, and there were some fights I didn't like some monsters I didn't like, but overall I really liked the game. Conceptually, I thought it was really good. So that's something that I'm hoping for. Oh, they're doing a Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD remaster. They're doing that. They're doing Switch 2 versions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Both games that I really like. And I was watching... Who was it? Oh, I was watching Dan's Gaming play one of those. I think he was doing Tears of the Kingdom. And so you can play it. Now remember, Breath of the Wild, you'd go to like the forest and it would run like shit. It couldn't load all the grass and like the frame rate would go crazy. It would be bad. But the Switch 2 version apparently looks really beautiful and runs really well. And I was watching Dan's Gaming play it and it looked gorgeous. So I was like, oh. Yeah, and even if you don't have the upgrade rate, it still just runs better. So that's good. Oh, they're putting Fantasy Life on there. I've been playing that on Steam, though. Yeah, Dan's Gaming of the Dan's Game emote fame. Yeah, Dan is one of the streamers that whenever I want to figure out if I should play a game or not, I'll watch him. Because he usually has similar opinions to me in what games he does and doesn't like. So I kind of like, for me and my taste, I trust him. So I check out his streams a lot to see, like you know, if I want to try something or not. He's one of my go-tos. Oh, they're putting the new Rune Factory on there, the one that I was sponsored for before. Oh, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. Yes. I'm excited for Puyo Puyo. I don't know how much you guys actually like playing Tetris, but I'm a big Tetris sicko. So, I'm excited for that. I'm just scrolling through their stuff. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is going to be on Switch. Yes. Yeah, there's not too many announced right now because honestly, I don't think it's worth it for them to release too many games while they're still trying to catch up on people getting the consoles at all. So, kind of better if it's like that. Anytime I take Tetris, yeah, Oshi, you need to get yourself a Switch 2 because we got Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S on there and we need to fight. We need to fight. Oh yeah, and Splatoon Raiders. I really want Splatoon 4. I'm a big believer in Splatoon, okay? I don't know how many of you guys have seen me play it and have tried it because of me or anything, or if you've played it before then. I love Splatoon. It's a really, really good game. It's really good. Splatoon 3 is really fun. It is not a game for children. I know it looks cute. I know it's Nintendo, so people look at it and they're like, oh, it's just a stupid kid's game. It is so good. Okay? That's all. It is just so good. Story mode is fun, but playing like online against others is so fucking good. I love it. So, highly recommend. I'm excited to play just normal Splatoon 3 on there, but I want 4. Wish I could play it on PC. Yeah, but like Nintendo needs an FPS. It needs an FPS, man, that it can keep to itself. I do like, I'm not sure how well it'll work, but the control mode where you can take your Switch 2 Joy-Con and turn it on the side and use it like a mouse, if that works in Splatoon, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go nuts if that actually works well. If that becomes the new way to control in that game, I'll go insane. It's fun to watch you play with the Nova Girls and Puyo Puyo. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta bother them. I want to play with them again. I still need to play Apex with Nagi. I need to play Apex with Nagi, and then... yeah, maybe just more Tetris with them. Yeah, Soffing! I was playing that character that keeps going, surf up! Like, every time you do a combo. And Pekka and Nagi were crying, and they were like, no surfing! No surfing! While I was, like, killing them. Oh, it was so fun. Okay, hold on. I gotta check on a collab thing. Okay. I'm just we're arranging our 4th for the collab. We'll probably game soon. Lucky, get off my desk. Hey. Hey. Lucky. What are you doing? Oh. Ooh. Scratching his chin. Ooh. Yes. I was hanging out with my mom's cat this weekend. She has gotten so fat. That cat. She's gotten so fat. She's like a little skull, a little head. She's a small little thing. Little shoulders. Big round belly. Little, like pelvic bone, you know? Like she's like little, it goes round out in a circle, like a sphere. And I was like, what are you like, what are you doing? And like, everyone else has given up on feeding this damn cat. She feeds him too much. So I was like, what are you feeding her? I was like, you have to, what she's doing is she's feeding her wet food. She does a little bit in the morning, a little bit at night, and then she also does some dry food in the middle of the day. But the dry food in the middle of the day, she does like a fat ass scoop, okay? A fat ass scoop of it. And I was like, well, this is a small cat. Like, how much are you giving her? And it was just too much. It was just way too much. And she was just like, she looked so hungry. She's begging me for food. She must be hungry. And I was like, hey, cats are hardwired to always be hungry or to act like they want food, to beg. Doesn't mean they're actually hungry. They're fine. They're sated. They are totally fine. It is just a natural thing. Because realistically, like out in the wild, cats, like their hit rate is pretty low. Like when they try to catch something, they get something like 10% of the time, you know, like, so they're hardwired to be seeking food all the time so that they end up getting enough by the end of, you know, their time. And they don't even eat every day. Like, a lot of them just go days without food because they catch a bird every couple days or whatever. Like, that's just normal for them. Obviously, you should feed your cat more regularly than that, but still, like, if they're meowing at you, it does not mean that they're dying and they're starving, you know? So I was like, you gotta stop. So I was like, Mom, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna put her wet food down. Then, a little bit later, when you're ready to feed her dry food, you're gonna put your fingers in the little bag of cat food. Or put a little spoon in, whatever. You're gonna get like 5 pieces of dry food. 5 tiny little bits, and you're gonna throw it in her bowl, and you're gonna be like, there you go. And then you'll feed her the wet food again at the end of the day. And she was like, but she's so hungry. And I was like, no. You're gonna give her the satisfaction of eating, but you're not gonna give her a lot. She started doing it. We'll see. I give it 3 days, and I bet she'll be back to being like, she needs a half a spoon. She's crying. But we'll see. Love that cat, though. She was so cute and tiny when she was a little kitten. She's so cute and tiny. Now she's fat. She's not hungry, though. She's not. All right. We got our 4th. Okay, I'm adding our 4th to the group chat. And then I'm kicking the other. One person couldn't make it, so I kicked them out of the group chat and posted smiling imp face. There we go. So there's a cat you feed. She doesn't finish her food we give her nowadays, so you don't give her any more. Yeah, don't. 4th of Salmon Run. Oh, I want to do more Salmon Run. I've been tempted to open Splatoon more. I've been kind of waiting until I get the Switch 2 so I could put the cartridge in there and see if it runs better. That's what I really want to do. And I want to see if the alternate style of control works with the game. I want to say it doesn't. You know what? Let me ask Hacker. Let me ask Hackerling. Have you played Splat 3 on Switch 2 yet? Can you do the mouse control thingy? I want to know. She would know. The mouse mode is rough. Yeah, I assume it's probably not that great, but I want to try it. My last message with Hacker is her sending me pictures of her cat. Peeper. Her cat, Peeper. She's so cute. You know when Hacker first got her cat? She got a little kitten. She was like, we found a kitten, and I don't know if I should keep it. I don't know what I should do with it. I've never really, like, dealt with it before. And I, like, coached her through having a kitten. I was like, this is what you do. Here's how you cat-proof your room. And she was sending me pictures of her room. Is this okay? Will she eat this? I was helping Hacker, like, figure out having a cat. 'Cause she had had dogs before. She wasn't really, like, sure. And I was like, honestly, not that different. Shouldn't have to change too much, but yeah. And now her cat is her most favorite thing ever. She loves Peeper. She loves Peeper so much. You said you've been having bad luck playing Salmon Run? Got your pay deducted 2 to 3 times? No. I'm gonna go back and play more. I really miss Splatoon. One of the few games that I will just always go back to. Guys, you know we were talking about a poop horror game before? Rebelcat came through Clutch, one of our Pocket community artists here, and drew something in the Discord. Here's Rebelcat's idea for a game. TP. This is exactly what I was imagining. This is perfect. Just the eyeball, like, looking through, and the hand being like, I need toilet paper. Yeah, with the long, scary fingers. Oh, man. That's good. That's good. We need this. We need this, guys. Oh, we need it so badly. We could make a crazy game, too. There's nothing scarier than, like, asking someone for toilet paper while you're actively pooping and you can't get up to do anything about it. Oh, there's just nothing worse. This shit's scary. Oh no. No. Art would be the yeah. I think a game like that, like a lot of these simple point and click horror games don't seem that hard to make. It's just the writing, the art, that kind of stuff where you need that to be good. But I think we could do it. I think we could do it. No problem. Another robot cat banger. Cat's been in this community for a long time and has always just drawn random shit that I've talked about on stream. Now we have Fish that does it too. I honestly, like, it's nice to get fully done art, but I like when people just doodle shit.
But you're at the deaf convention.
Oh no! Oh my god, how would you indicate it? You can't be seen either. Oh my god. Well, I guess, okay. You could stick your hand under the door and start signing. You could. But then you have to stick your hand into someone else's stall, which feels so intrusive, right? Oh no. Oh no. Oh god. It's terrible. I don't have a square to spare. We have to do it. We have to do it. Ugh. Boris awarded points. Oh yeah, we have if you guys haven't seen, we've had him for a while, but the bot is now used to award points in a way where if you get awarded points by somebody for a thing you did in Discord, you get replied to specifically by the bot, by Boris. Have you seen it? Have you been looking at it? Yeah, it's cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Every time you try to doodle, you wind up wanting to do a full painting. Yeah, and you can if you want. I'm not saying don't, but like, if you just want to doodle stuff, I like that too. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't need to be polished. I feel like a lot of folks get kind of stuck into like, oh, my art piece needs to be perfect. I have to finish it. You don't have to. If you just make it exist first and polish later, sometimes the make it exist phase is like 90% of the goodness of it, you know? But it's up to you. It's up to you. You always had a fear of someone in the stall next to the urinal grabbing your leg while you're using it. Yeah, you have those like intrusive thoughts that you know probably aren't going to happen, but you visualize it. I think the brain just does that, right? It just visualizes bad things that could happen as a way to prep the body and mind. So you, by visualizing it, it's like you're living through it a little bit. So because you've run through it in your head, you know what to do, right? You've done a run through, so you feel a little more prepared. But unfortunately, it means you have to sit there and visualize some shit you don't want to visualize. Like, you know, a hand reaching and grabbing your leg. Or like, it's just like a fucked up thing your brain does. And it makes sense why, but it sucks. Hi, Carrie. Hope you're doing well, Carrie. Hope you're doing okay. I'm around if you ever need to message. That's my name. Someone grabbed your leg while pissing, they just end up in the splash zone? Yeah, most likely. Most likely. Probably. Alright, I think our collab will start soon-ish. We have, Amelie. We have Amelie. We have Heavenly. We have Zen. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I was organizing because I gotta bother Zed. She keeps doing this thing. Okay, so when I organize a collab, if I'm thinking of a group of 4, I message like 5 people all at the same time, and I'm like, would you like to play? Would you like to play? Would you like to play? Zen always assumes that people don't do that, which she's not wrong to do so, because a lot of people don't do that. They usually message one person, and then, like, if they message me or Zen, we go and grab the other people. So Zen was like, I got a fourth. And I was like, oh, because I also had people already. And I was like, no, wait, I already messaged people. So I was on the side. I was just trying to arrange, like, who was going to be able to join, because it's a 4-person game. But I think, like, 7 different people got asked or something. Oh, man. It's funny. It's funny. I'm appreciative that she asks people, though, because a lot of the time when I ask someone, hey, who else would you like to play with? They're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Do you got anybody? I don't know. And it's not that they don't know. They're just afraid to ask people, you know? So it's like, I think only Zen and I are the types to, like, go and immediately, like, get a whole bunch of people like that. I don't know. I don't really see other people doing it like so quickly the way we do. But then when both Zen and I talk to each other about stuff, what happens is she'll always assume, because she's so used to it. Again, I don't blame her. She's so used to people like not getting people for stuff, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm still getting a 3rd and 4th. And she'll be like, I got one, and I'm like, no, I got one. No, me too though. You know. But the good news is whenever you have to tell someone like, oh no, I already got one, it usually means that you just end up with a second collab another day. So it still works out. It still works out. 2 Wranglers, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's true. I also added our server and I was like, hey, who's getting a Switch too? Because I want to play. I want to play Mario Kart World, man. Kuro said he can't get his till July. I was like, I want to play Switch 2 Mario Kart World soon when I get mine. And Mouse was like, oh yeah, I got mine. I like World. I was like, okay, I'll let you know when I get my Switch 2. And Kuro was like, I can't get mine till July. I was like, oh. Sucks, man. It's just where he is. It's just where he is. He just can't get it until then. Is it available in stores? He's not in the US. He's not in the US. He's not in a place where they have them stocked in stores like that. So he will get one. It will be on the way. But, you know, not until then, so. Oh well. Oh well. Did Mouse end up with 2? Did she? I don't know. Did she? Ew. I actually have, I don't have a second one, but I have like a second one that I could send to somebody, meaning someone else picked up a few extras. They were able to get a couple. So I had a friend that needed one, so I was getting it sent to them. Her mom got her another. Yeah, I know a lot of people that tried to do that, and then they've been distributing it to like streamer friends to make sure that content creators can have them. But there's no priority line for that, so a lot of us will have like a friend or staff member go out to store and try and get it, and that's how I got mine. It was a friend got it, so thank God. Thank God. I have a question. What inspired you to become a VTuber? VTubers did. Yeah. Streamers, I guess. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I don't really have a better answer. That's my answer, man. I think overall, I was aware of VTubing for a really long time because it had been around in smaller forms for a really long time. And I had looked at it a long time ago and I was like, well, if this ever becomes something that is fully doable by like people, because the tech is available to people instead of a thing where you have to get like all these custom bits of software, then I'll probably do it. And then at some point I saw like a couple of VTubers and I went, oh, I think the tech is more available. I looked up, I went, oh, it is. And then I just did it. That was really it. The answer is so bland. What do you want? You want me to do a song and dance? I could pretend and I could do the thing that people do, and then I come up with some big name and I'm like, oh my god, this person inspired me so much, I love them, I hope they collab with me one day. And like, but no, like I just saw a few people doing it. I didn't even know their names. I was just like, that's cool. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, me too, I want to try it. But I always watch streamers, so I wanted to stream to begin with, for fun either way. So this was just like an extra thing on top of it, I guess. You know? Henya has been playing Wind Waker on Switch 2 online emulator. When I resized the screen to 4:3, she had no idea what was happening. I really like playing games in 4:3. I like playing a lot of retro stuff because what it does is it makes the game screen fit in a nice nearly square to the left side, and then I could put myself like vertically on the right side without covering any of the game window. And that is one of the most beautiful things about playing anything retro on stream, is like you can just have this space to throw your model without having to do a whole fancy overlay or anything, right? Like there's just a space already there for you. I love it. I love it so much. So I meant like who you watch, but like you clearly don't know their names, lol. All of them. I don't know how to say this. Basically, like so I saw a couple VTubers that existed and I went, that's cool. What's out there? And I researched and I watched a little bit of like everyone that was VTubing. Indies, people from JP Corpos, everything. And I looked up all of them. I watched like all of them that were active before I was doing it myself, just to see what different people were doing. Everyone except for like the tiniest of indies that I might not have found. So it wasn't like, I can't really point out and be like, oh, this one person, that other person directly inspired me. I just looked them all up. It was the idea of VTubing as a whole, but I didn't have 1 or 2 or 3 people even where I'm like, they were my direct inspiration. I just was like, the tech's cool and I want to do it. You know what I mean? But yeah, if I was trying to like name all the names, I'd be like, yeah, everyone who was in Niji Hollow and whatever other companies existed before 2021. I watched all of them in some way, shape, or form to see what existed out there. And then all the indies that were of any appreciable size at all, anyone that was above like 50 viewers, honestly, like I looked at the community, I checked out like everybody, because the community was really small back then. If you said everybody today, that would be like thousands upon thousands of people, which is insane. But in like 2020, halfway through 2020, there really weren't that many. So you actually could like look at all of them within a day and watch a little bit of them and then start from there. You know what I mean? So at the time, that was feasible. At the time, it was. Saw an anime girl and started doing market analysis. Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. That was literally it. I just wanted to see what was out there. Because I'm not the type to dive into something without like checking out the breadth of what's possible. I'm not going to see 3 VTubers and then be like, I'm going to do it too and start working on it. I'm the type to be like, let me look at everybody and see what everyone's doing so I can understand like what the limits are of this, see other people's ideas, etc. You know? So because I'm that type, like I didn't really attach to a few people and be like, this is my Oshi and they're going to directly inspire me. I just like amalgamated all of what everyone's doing. Does that make sense? That's how I did it. But yeah, market research, pretty much. I don't know. It just, I don't do this with everything, but I don't like to jump quickly on something that I feel like I don't understand. Right? The VTuber homunculus. Well, genuinely, in 2020, the community was so much smaller. There were so few VTubers out there. And if you were, like, not that well known, all the other VTubers probably still kind of knew you because it was just such a tiny community. It's like when you live in a small town of 100 people and, like, everyone knows each other because there are only 100 of you. That's your world. That's your size of your world. You know, that it just, like, it's not that hard to get to know everyone. And things weren't really in pockets and niches. There were some friend groups. I mean this in a good way. There were cliques, you know, certain groups of people that were very insular, but everyone still knew everyone else. You just might have had your group that you hung out with all the time. But that's it. And everyone collabed with everyone a little bit. or messaged everyone at some point. Like, everyone talked to everyone back then. So it was just a different time. It was a different time. Or at least all the indies, I mean, that community all talked to each other. But now it's so saturated and there's so many people. I see a lot of like people comment on things I've said or reply to me, or they get a tweet recommended to me, and I'm like, I don't know who this is, but they get like a lot of engagement, and it's someone who is like, I guess they have a pretty solid community, but I just have no clue who they are because the community's grown so much that I don't just like know everyone and what they're doing. And I'm really thankful for that, because I really hated when it was so small that you felt like you had to be friends with everyone, even if you didn't vibe too well, because everyone expected everyone to be friendly with everyone else, you know? And I felt like that wasn't the best environment. It hadn't become toxic or anything like that. It was just like one of those things where I was like, if I just find my 5 friends that I like and I stick with them, people are going to feel some type of way. They're going to be like, oh, you don't want to hang out with us? Oh, you're going to have your little group? Because everyone knew everyone, you know what I mean? And it wouldn't be like you'd be mean, you'd just be like, these are the people I get along really well with, you know? But it would get like looked at kind of weirdly. And then as things grew, that people became sane again and were like, yeah, people just have their friends, you know? I think when the community was really small, it was like people would walk on eggshells with the friendships a little more because they didn't want to look like cliquey if they hung out with their friends too much or something, which is crazy. You should hang out with your friends if you like them, that's all. Sometimes you only really click with like 3 people. That's okay, you know? But back then it felt a little weird to do. So I do like that it's grown a lot because now there are a lot of more unique people. People can really find their tribe. They can find their folks and hang out, you know? Hi, Fries. How you doing? You were trying to figure out if VTubing was a niche for hobby versus financially viable as a career? No. Don't say things that aren't true. Don't just type them. You should have asked that like a question. You should have been like, were you trying to figure this out? Because the answer is no, because I had a full-time job and I was never trying to make this my job for the first like 2 years-ish of streaming. I never wanted to. This was never going to be more financially viable than my tech job. And then I became really ill and I had to quit work. And then I ended up going full-time. And then after I went full-time, then it became more financially viable. That was the order of operations. Don't make shit up. She doesn't hang out with this VTuber. She must hate pancakes. Yeah, I think back then, so because everyone knew each other, there were these Discords that people were in where like most VTubers would get invited to, so everyone got to kind of know each other. And I remember one Discord I was in, there was a lot of drama around like one person made a Discord and friends started inviting their friends and other people invited their friends, and eventually just a fuck ton of VTubers were in this server. And they had a role, and the role was like, it wasn't named this, but basically the role was like the inner circle of friends, the ones that they could trust more, that were closer to the server owner. They had their own chat of everyone with that role, which is fine. When you have a server that has so many people in it, it's fine to separate out as the server owner when it's your server for your friends to hang out in, to be like, this is my inner circle of people that I trust more and I want to have pop into VC all the time. So we have our own VC. That is okay. I wasn't in that inner circle. Okay. But I remember a lot of people who weren't in that inner circle being like, oh, so they don't fuck with us. And I was like, maybe you're not what they want. And that's okay, because not everyone gets along with everyone to that deep of a level that you want them to be able to pop in and out of VC all the time when they're just hanging out. People don't want like strangers doing that, you know? It's okay. But then I remember screenshots of some chats got leaked where they were like saying shit. Not all, when I say they, I mean some people in that inner circle, not all of them. Some of them were like saying shit about people in the server that weren't in the inner circle. And we're like, I don't like this person because they something. And then it was so dramatic. It became so dramatic. And I was like, oh my God. Some of the stuff people were saying was crazy. And it was like a bunch of creators that weren't even that big. Like everyone was there, a lot of the more well-known people were in there, but everyone overall was smaller still, you know? So none of this was really a big deal, but someone would be like, this person thinks they're better than me because they're partnered and I'm only at 60 CCV. Like, shit got so dramatic and I was like, what is happening, man? So I made some friends from there, but I stopped hanging out in like the VCs in there, like at large. I just made my own group chats with a couple people and was like, yeah, I'm just gonna hang out with the nice ones. It was so dramatic. Yeah, bigger number, better person. It was crazy. Shit talking discords. I'm gonna be honest, everyone does it. I mean, people are allowed to complain about people. No one has to like anyone. As long as it's like coming from a valid place and you're not shitting on someone for no reason, you're just complaining to a close friend about something, okay. I'm not gonna get mad at that. If someone didn't like a thing I said and they typed in a group chat with some of their friends, she said this thing and I really didn't like it. Okay. If a screenshot leaks of someone saying that, I'm not gonna be like, how could they talk behind my back? That's, what? They don't owe me anything. Whatever. It's different if they were really nice to me all the time and they were like, I love you so much, or like glazing me and then doing that at the same time. Then I'd be like, okay, right? Okay. Even then, I'm going to be like, you know what? People do that a lot. I don't like that, but I'm not going to like crash out. The shit happens all the time. I just won't be their friend. Okay. You know, people sometimes let you know that you shouldn't be friends, and that might be one of the ways, right? Like you just saved yourself from having a shitty friend. Okay. That's all right. Like, it's not that serious. It just depends on what they say. And some of the stuff I remember seeing from some of these different discords was crazy. Some of it was also a big nothing, but people would treat it all the same, and I felt like it sort of devalued it. Like, sometimes something was actual real, like, it was beyond drama. Like, it was really bad what someone was doing, and someone would be complaining and upset, and I'd be like, you're right to be upset. That's fine. Other times, something tiny would happen. Someone would be like, I don't like this person's design. And they'd be like, they're talking behind my back. And they'd write a whole twit longer. And I'd be like, hey, I don't think, buddy, this warrants this reaction, you know? But they would freak out over it. I remember things that were like that in early VTubing. Like, most people were very chill and friendly with each other. And then occasionally there'd be this little thing that would blow up. And it usually wasn't even that bad. But I remember it happening all the time, and it was usually over group chats. It was always like, there's a group chat or a Discord with a role or something, and these people said this thing or whatever. I don't know. It was so stupid. It was so stupid. Sometimes you find yourself shit-talking someone you don't actually have anything against because you're matching the energy of whoever you're talking to. I think that's how a lot of it happens. Because some people, like, the way they speak is like incendiary. Sometimes when someone complains about someone else, they blow it out of proportion. They're hyperbolic the whole time. They're using like really aggressive language, and then other people, like you said, yeah, they'll kind of match the energy a little bit, and it gets them caught up in it. Like, there are one or two people that I know that they're usually fine. Sometimes when they get angry over something, they just talk like that. And when I see them say something in a group chat and other people are getting riled up, I'm like, guys, let's not get riled up. Let them calm down, okay? Don't get caught up in it. But people really, really get caught up in other people's energy, so it happens sometimes. And there have been times where I've seen someone releases a Google Doc on someone or something, and there's a screenshot of someone saying some crazy shit, and I'm like, it's one of those people that, like, does this and then calms down and the next day apologizes and is fine, usually. You know? Like, sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's someone who always talks like that. You know, it's not always, like, as black and white as it seems, which is why I don't love commenting on a lot of those scenarios where I can avoid it. Because, like, sometimes, like, I know this person can be hostile, but, like, it's a moment of weakness thing for them and they bounce back from it. Versus some people that don't, right? And it doesn't mean that I think that person is fine for saying what they say in that kind of tone, but it does mean that, like, I as a person am more likely to stay around and maybe still be friendly with them when I know that they bounce back from it and they apologize typically and they, you know what I mean? Really, there's a lot of, like, nuance to this stuff that you don't get to see when someone just releases a Google Doc and they're like, this person said this once, and everyone goes, and clutches their pearls, right? You said sometimes people don't realize how hostile they're being. I'm guilty of that as well sometimes. I don't think they realize until they, like, look back at what they read or listen to themselves when they're, like, not emotional. Then they look back and they go, what the fuck was I saying? What energy was I on, you know? So, I don't know, man. It is what it is. There are also times where people say things about someone in a group chat or whatever, and the information they have is wrong. So there are a lot of scenarios where someone will, like, talk about somebody and be like, I cannot believe this person did this. They are terrible, blah, blah, blah. And then the next week they get more information and they go, I take that back. But people will screenshot that first thing they said that week ago and post it to make them look bad, even though they may have changed their minds. Some people change their minds and they don't update all their friends that they've changed their mind on someone, because why do people have to update everyone on how they feel about everyone else? But there's that still existing screenshot from a week ago. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of all this shit gets so messy. It gets so messy for no reason. It's so stupid. I don't know. The retractions never get enough traction. No, and that's what sucks in this world, in the current like climate of the internet, of content and all that. Whoever says something first usually quote unquote wins. Like the first impression is the person who makes the scenario, and the scenario maker is the one who like gets to change things the most. They get to mold things the most. And then on top of that, the first thing you personally post about it is the only thing people will say and see. For me, all the time I do it, if I tweet something and people are getting the wrong thing from it, I'll just reply to my own tweet and I'll be like, hey, here's the clarification. People never see the clarification. I know this. Everyone needs to know this. The first thing you say will always be what people care about, and everything else you say, you could say it to make yourself feel good, but you know, like, people are not going to read it. They're not going to care. Never ever. I've been avoided to play a game. Is it time? It might be time. Yeah, that's how things work nowadays, man. Like, you gotta be first. I think that's why everyone, like, is quick to make documents and things, because they're like, if I don't say something first, then, like, no one's gonna believe me. That's how they feel. Ooh, let me turn off my BGM. There's the game sound. Ooh. But yeah, that's why I think, say nothing unless it personally affects you and you feel you want to say something, then maybe, but otherwise say nothing. Hold on, put myself in the corner. Going in the corner. I'm gonna get rid of... Hey, I know you love the thingy. I know you love the sock puppet. However, get it out of the way for now. Get it out of the way for right now. I'll go over here.